Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. If this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Oliver and I'm a master's student in economics at Aalto University in Finland. And on this channel we talk about education and early career development, specifically here in Finland. So if you are new here, do consider subscribing. During these weekly Q&A live streams, I answer your most burning questions about living, studying and working in Finland. And how these live streams work is that I have a Google form linked into the description box below, if you go all the way down the description box. So if you want me to answer your questions about living, studying and working in Finland live, please post your question into the Google form because the live chat actually gets pretty busy at times, and if you post your question into the chat, it is highly likely that I will miss your question and people get mad. So again, if you want me to answer your questions about living, studying or working in Finland, post your questions into the Google form that is linked in the description box below. Before we start with the first questions, let me just link the live stream into our Discord server. So if you are not yet a member of our Discord server, this is something that I did set up a while ago, and the idea is to build a community of people who are interested in studying and working in Finland. And you can join the Discord server through the link that I also have in the description box below. Into the server, I post videos and updates about few upcoming videos and live streams, and we have more personal dialogue overall about these topics. Dennis, what's up? Awesome to have you here. I think you are first one in the stream today. Let's wait for a moment for people to actually come online. How's the weather, Dennis, there today? Let me know in the chat. Actually, a really cool thing, we got our first snow to Helsinki today, which is really cool because that's the first snow of 2020. We didn't have any snow in early this year, so January, February, which is completely abnormal. So basically the first snow of the entire year. So I'm pretty darn excited about that. Anyhow, let's Bothena, what's up? Welcome to the live stream as well. Awesome to have you here as well. Naem Sayo just subscribed. Awesome to have you as part of the community. If you want to actually have a bit more personal dialogue, make sure to join our Discord server where we talk about studying and working in Finland, and you can find a link to that server in the description box below. Astranyra, what's up to you as well? Welcome back to the stream. Awesome to have all the regulars here every single week. Guys, let me know in the chat what is the local time in your country and actually what is the weather, because if you didn't hear that I just mentioned a second ago, we actually got our first snow of 2020 today, and I'm super excited about that. Ariuna, what's up? Hola, ¿cómo está? Elena, awesome to have you here as well. Denny saying it's been raining for a few days in Turkey, Antalya. Right. It's been extremely rainy, and actually we have had a huge storm here in Finland during this week, but last night we got the first sub-zero temperatures, and we got just a bit of snow. It's almost all melted right now already, but it was really nice to wake up to it. Anyhow, let's jump directly into the questions, and just to reiterate, if you want me to answer your questions live, please post your question into the Google form that I have linked in the description box. That way, that you will make sure that I will not miss your question. Awesome. The first questions that were actually left from last week comes from Fashine, who comes from Thailand, and is applying to study in Finland in the next application period to Tampere University, and she's specifically interested in statistics. And the question is, there's two types of applications, separate applications and joint applications. And the application period is later than for the joint application than for the separate applications. I wonder, can I apply to both or with both type of applications? That is a really good question, and I actually just finished a video on this topic where I explain both application types in detail, because this is extremely confusing even for Finnish people. So it took me quite a while to actually figure out how to communicate how these application systems work. So I have a video coming up about this next week, where I explain this in more detail, but here is a rough summary. Excuse me. So, as mentioned, there are two different application methods that you can use when you apply to study in Finland. You have something that is called a separate application, and then you have something that is called a joint application. So the difference between these two, there are basically just two types of application forms that you use to apply to different universities at different times a year. So joint applications basically mean an application type that you can use to apply to up to 6 different degree programs. So not meaning universities. So 6 different degree programs that can be either from the same university or University of Applied Sciences, or they can be from different universities. So how usually Finnish nationals use joint applications is that, for example, if you apply to study economics, you use that joint application to apply to 6 different schools, because then you don't usually have 2 types of economics programs in one school, so you would apply to 6 different schools. However, if you are interested in doing different types of engineering programs, you can apply to multiple programs within one school and then to some programs in other schools. Within joint applications, and this is where it becomes really stupid and confusing, we have basically 3 application periods for joint applications per year. However, only 2 of these application periods offer English taught degree programs. And these happen in the spring, in January, and then the second one is in the autumn in September. And here is where it gets even more confusing. So when you apply in the now I have to check, because this is so confusing that I don't remember it myself either. Just a moment. I have to check this. Right. So when you apply using a joint application in the spring, you do not have to place the 6 different degree programs in a order of priority. So meaning that when you apply to 6 programs, if you are admitted to any of them, or if you get an offer from any of them or multiple of them, you can then pick and choose which one of these offers you want to accept. However, you have to keep in mind that in Finland we have a rule that you can only accept 1 offer per term. So you can apply to multiple schools, but you can only accept 1 offer. So that's the spring joint application. However, if you apply using the joint application in the autumn, which is in September, you have to put these 6 degree programs that you apply to in a priority order, meaning that you can only be offered 1 place, and that is you can only be offered and accept 1 offer. Meaning that if you, for example, apply to Aalto University, University of Turku, Oulu, Vaasa, and then Jyväskylä, let's forget about the 6th one, you will be offered a study place from that school where you have the highest points, enough to get admitted, and which is highest on your priority lists. So let's say that you don't have enough, you have Aalto University as your priority number 1, but you don't have enough points to get admitted. That is then cancelled. However, you can still stay there as you can remain on a waiting list in case someone cancels their place and then you're bumped up in the list. However, then if you have like University of Turku as a second priority and you have enough points there, then you will be offered only a place from the University of Turku, and all the rest, even if you have enough points to them, will be cancelled. So this means that in the autumn joint application period, you really have to think and prioritize these 6 choices based on which university I really want to get into. And you have to balance between what do you want and what is most realistic. I know this is really confusing, but again, I have a video coming up next week where I explain the joint and separate applications in a lot of detail, so it will make more sense then. All right, so this is joint application. So again, we have 3 joint application periods, 2 of which have English taught degrees, spring and autumn. And during the spring application period, you do not have to put these 6 places into priority order. However, during the autumn period, you have to. Then we have something called separate applications. Separate applications are basically literally exactly that. So they are separate application forms that you use to apply to specific schools or specific programs that happen to use separate applications. Yeah, this is super confusing. So not all universities use joint applications for all of their programs, and vice versa. As an example, a lot of the English-taught master's program degree programs in Finland use separate applications. And when you use a separate application, you can use it in many different ways and depending on the school. But it is pretty common that you can apply to multiple degree programs with one application as long as they are in the same school. However, you cannot apply to multiple programs in different schools with one separate application. So, however, you can fill out as many separate applications as you want. So basically, if Aalto University has a separate application, I think they allow you to apply to a maximum of 2 degree programs with one separate application. So you can apply to 2 programs at Aalto University, and then University of Turku has a separate application, and then you can apply to X amount of their programs with their application, etc., etc. So this is all super confusing, and again, the video next week will explain everything in more detail. And I hope that it makes more sense than this explanation here live. However, this is like the general overview of the application system in Finland. However, we actually have a 2 extra application systems that I cannot explain here because I haven't yet done enough research about them. However, I will do a couple of videos in the next weeks about 2 extra ways to apply to study in Finland, which are actually faster than separate and joint applications, and they're actually pretty brilliant. But again, videos about those a bit later. Before I jump into the next question, let's actually say hey to everyone who has joined. Abhishek Shah saying, hey Oliver, what's up dude? Awesome to have you here as well. Yukti Mishra saying also, hi Oliver, what is up? Awesome to have you here as well, live. Faisal Ahmed, what's up? Yevgenia, hello, welcome to the live stream. Awesome to have currently the only channel member in these weekly live streams. Really appreciate it. Hello world, awesome to have you here as well. Creator Wizard, what is up? Hey man, what is up? Actually, well, I can actually talk about you a bit more in just a second. Awesome to have you here live joining us. Anyways, Prabyot Singh, what is up? Also awesome to have you here. If you just joined the stream, just to remind you guys, if you want me to answer your question live, I already noticed that some of you guys have posted your questions into the live chat. It is pretty common that I miss some questions if you post them into the chat. So if you want me to answer your question, there's a Google form linked into the description box below. And please post your question through that form, because then I will have them in front of me here on the computer. and I will not miss the question, and I will be able to answer them in a first come, first serve basis. So just to let you know how that works. Just a moment. But yeah, actually, just to mention, Creator Wizard or Justin is an awesome YouTuber slash YouTube coach that has actually been helping me out with the channel during the last few months, and I really appreciate Justin you being here live. Please, if you have any feedback or comments or suggestions how I could actually improve these streams in the future, I would of course appreciate it. As always. Ivra, what's up? Welcome back to the stream as well. Awesome. Anyways, let's jump back into the questions, and the next one comes from Abhi from India, and who has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, and is currently doing a bachelor's in computer engineering, and is interested in doing a master's in computer engineering. Cool. And the question is, sorry, this is a big question. No problem at all. This is the reason why we are here. And I'm planning to do my master's in Finland. Is there any point system for permanent residency in Finland? Like other countries such as Canada, which is also in the list of the countries where I would like to do my master's, is able to get a permanent residency fast. And honestly, for me, settling in a foreign country is the goal at the moment. I've read that in Finland, one has to stay in Finland for 4 years with a permit, which is basically a work permit. The main concern that I have is there still a risk? I mean, what if the Finnish government suddenly changed the PR, permanent residency rules, in my 3rd year of a permit? For example, in Canada, one can calculate how many points you have for eligibility. We'll ask more detailed questions in your Discord channel. Sorry and thank you. No, please don't apologize. This is a really good question, and this is the entire reason for the live streams existing. And unfortunately, I have to say that I don't know the exact answer to this. But based on my information and what I've read online, and based on the discussions that I've had with the customer service agents from the Finnish Immigration Service, the answer is no, we don't have such a point system that would be equivalent to what they have in Canada. You are correct in that you have to basically live in Finland for 4 years with a work permit before you can actually apply for a permanent residency. Hey, Justin, thank you so much for the super chat, $5. I do appreciate it, man. I actually, last week we already established that I have an espresso fund that I'm collecting. I need to get a physical piggy bank here to the office, but all these super chats are going into my espresso fund so that I can keep I will stay awake during these long live streams. So there, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Anyways, back to the question. So you basically have to work for 4 years with a working permit in order to be eligible to apply for a permanent residency. However, the risk of the Finnish government changing the rules mid-process is extremely unlikely, and I highly doubt that would happen. Do keep in mind that all the residence permit applications are processed individually, so it will always depend on you and for example the work that you get. However, one of the best ways of getting a permanent residency in Finland is by first doing a degree in Finland, in a Finnish university, and then getting a job after graduating. And then, because basically, if you graduate from a Finnish institution and then you get a job, full-time job in a field, you basically automatically get a working permit here. Then you basically have to simply work for 4 years, and then you will get to apply for a permanent residency. The problem currently with Finnish residence permits, specifically when talking about working permits, is that if you have not done a degree in Finland, the problem seems to be that the residence permit processes take a huge amount of time. I actually just interviewed today a highly experienced recruitment professional from Finland, and he told me that many of the residence permit processes for highly educated people who actually already have a job offer from Finland can take up to a year, which is completely insane. However, if you get admitted to study in Finland and you graduate from here and you get a job, there's basically the length of the process is extremely short, because you almost automatically get a working permit because you have already proven that you want to stay in the country. Again, please don't quote me on this. However, this is how I've understood that the system works in general. Again, we can talk about this a bit more in the Discord server, but a really good question and super important question as well. Let's jump really quickly into the chat. What is up, Alexi? Welcome back to the live stream. Alexi is currently in a metro at the moment, so so your connection is probably a bit spotty. Sorry, Alexi, I actually missed your latest live stream, which was awesome. I watched it on replay. If you guys haven't seen Alexi's latest live stream when he was walking in Helsinki, showing you guys around, go ahead and check Alexi himself's YouTube channel and go to check out the live stream from there. Anyways, let's see who we have here. Astranura saying that it's 12:33 p.m. in the Dominican Republic. It's sunny, very sunny. That's very cool. It's dark, pitch black in Finland currently. Ariuna saying that it's 11:30 a.m. and temperature is 26 degrees Celsius in Tumbes, Peru. Oof, nice. That would be awesome. We're just below freezing. I'm like -1 degrees here in Helsinki currently. Elena saying that it's 8:34 a.m. in the north of Mexico. 13 degrees Celsius, so it's still a bit warm. That's really cool. Nice. Awesome. Faisal, about your question without about ELs, if you could please post your question to the Google form that I have in the description box below, and I'll get back to your question in just a moment. The same thing to Hello World. If you could please post your question in the Google form as well, I will get back to you in just a moment. Let's see, who else do we have here? Abhishek saying that I really wanted to see how you pronounced my name. Please let me know how did it actually go. I'm sorry for butchering everyone's names nowadays, because you guys come from all around the world, which is really cool. Elena saying, even if I won't go to Finland soon, your videos have been a great guide for the process to follow. Also, many of the productivity resources you talked about have already helped me a lot. That is really cool to hear. I actually thought that I would not focus too much on the productivity perspective, because there's so many other YouTubers who are doing a really good job about this. For example, Tom Frank, who I love. Ali Abdal is doing a lot of really good work on productivity things, especially tools like Notion. So I thought that I would not tap that much into those topics, because there's so much to cover in kind of my niche as well. Miguel saying, hello Oliver, I have a question about which universities admitted with 4 ELTS tests. That's a good question. Unfortunately, I don't have an answer to that directly. Alexi, thank you so much for the super chat contribution to the Oliver Espresso Fund. Thank you very much. €2 going into the Biggie Pank for my espresso for next week. Thanks. Thank you so much. Ariuna, the same thing as well. Thank you so much for the 5 currency. Please tell me what the currency is in Peru, right? If I remember correctly. Yeah, just what is the currency actually in Peru? I actually don't know. just let me know in the chat. Anyways, that is still highly appreciated. I actually might get a Moomin piggy bank if that would be actually quite cool. Alex is saying, I'm on my way to my girlfriend's place to watch the Finnish version of Temptation Island. All right, that ruined my evening. Anyhow, Yash, what is up? Also awesome to have you here as well. Thank you for the positive feedback. I really do hope that the video and audio quality especially is good enough for you. Abhishek saying that you pronounce the name perfectly. Awesome to hear that as well. Weird and then some. Hello, thank you for your channel. I wanted to ask if there are any subject maintenance loans in Finland for a EU citizen. Student maintenance loans in Finland for EU citizens. Unfortunately not. I don't think there are any student loans for EU citizens. Most of the student loans that we have in Finland are only for Finnish nationals. However, I might be mistaken, so please, the only way basically to make sure is to contact some of the Finnish banks directly about this. Anyhow, let's get back into the questions. The next one comes from Elena. Again from Italy, who is applying in the next application period to University of Helsinki to study microbial biotechnology. Again, Elena is a regular on the channel, if some of you don't yet know Elena. And the question is Finland a safe country for LGBTQ plus people? Yes. This is actually, I have a video coming about the top 5 reasons why you should actually move to Finland. And one of the reasons is that Finland is, I think, ranked, was it the 3rd most gender equal country in the entire world. So absolutely, Finland is a safe country for LGBTQ plus people, definitely, without a question. I think our progressive politics and especially the younger generations are extremely liberal, and I would say that absolutely is safe. I don't think there's actually any more to say about this. Yes, that is, yes, absolutely. I would not worry about this for a second. Elena has a second question, which is, will you do more student apartment tours? I found them very interesting. I know that the one-room apartments with kitchenettes don't have a standard fridge, but in the mini fridge they have, the mini fridges that they have, do they have small freezers from what you know? Really good question. So first of all, yes, I will start doing more student apartment tours once the COVID situation calms a bit down. I'm actually in process of filming a short tour of our own apartment. I just need to make sure that I'm protecting me and mine and my girlfriend's privacy at least somewhat. But I want to show some of the things that we have in Finnish homes that might seem a bit weird, but they are still awesome inventions, basically. And that video is coming up hopefully next week or in 2 weeks, so I think that would be a really cool thing. I'm also most likely going to collaborate with HOAS in the future, making more student apartment tours. However, again, because of COVID reasons, I'm not able to access any new apartments at this moment in time. About the question about the kitchenettes and the mini fridges that they have there, in my experience, yes, they do have these super small mini fridges, you know, that are basically, you have the fridge here, and then you have this super small sliver here where you can basically fit like 2 frozen pizzas or something. Like, you can actually fit like a Ben & Jerry's sideways, but not that much else. So they're not that tall, but most of the ones that I've seen, they have a freezer. Yes, basically that has to be a standard. And of course, if you don't have a freezer in your apartment, then you should have a shared kitchen somewhere where you actually have a freezer, because that's something that you really need to have in Finland anyways. So definitely, yeah. Re11 OY gave a super chat for 379 rubles, I think that is. Thank you so much. I have no idea what the conversion rate is, but that is the biggest amount of currency that anyone has ever given me in a super chat, so I do appreciate it a lot. And all of that is going again into my espresso fund. Thank you so much. I do appreciate the support you guys are giving. Basically, you're the only reason why I'm able to do YouTube full time. And I do appreciate it a lot, because you guys basically changed my life literally, by allowing me to do these videos and live streams as my job. So I do appreciate it so much, and I really hope that you guys are getting value from these live streams as well as the other content on the channel. Also, actually, it would be really cool if you guys were to consider maybe joining the channel as a member. If you just click the join button, which should be there or there under the video, just click the join button and you will get a pop-up screen that will show you all the perks and benefits that you get as a channel member. One of them being, for example, a monthly members only live stream where we get to discuss more personally about your questions about studying and working in Finland. And you will also get access to a private members only Discord channel where we have more personal dialogue. So again, being a member of the channel gives you a bit more access to me, and I will be able to give more time to you, especially if you have a lot of questions about studying and working here. So the currency in Peru is called soles. Right, that's cool. All right, you learn something every day. Yevgenia is saying, I remember when we came to Helsinki and the first thing I saw in a window was a LGBT flag. Yeah, that is true. And actually nowadays the annual Pride Day is actually a huge thing, and it has become such a mainstream thing that, for example, large corporations and companies are actually competing on who can actually help the Pride Day as a sponsor, because everyone wants to take part and show that they are actually a part of the community. And again, I would say that Finland is an extremely LGBTQ plus friendly country, definitely. Anyhow, back to the questions. Again, guys, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post them into the Google form that I have linked in the description box below. Guys, if the regulars on the channel, if you guys could please remind everyone who is posting questions into the chat to post them into the Google form, because I have already missed some questions in the chat, so that guys put them into the Google form so that I don't miss anything during this live stream. Anyways, the next question comes from Hiba Kagi. Who comes from Tunisia, currently studying in France, and is applying in the next application period and would like to study in the University of Helsinki. And the question is, sorry, there is actually a pretty long comment here. First, interested in 2 master's programs at the University of Helsinki: global politics and communication and global governance law. Oh, right, I actually remember you from last week. Awesome to have you here again. I would love to major in international relations and diplomacy. I have a bachelor's in Anglo-American literature and civilization from a Tunisian university, and currently studying public administration as a second bachelor in Lyon, France. Vive la France. Enrolled as a second year to gain knowledge in economics and law. Cool. That's actually impressive. Nice. Anyhow, the question is, are there any funding that I can apply to apart from the one offered by the university that just covers tuition fees? As an international student, do I have to pay insurance fees? Yeah, 2 really good questions. So first of all, both of the programs that you alluded to from the University of Helsinki sound extremely interesting. Of course, I don't have any experience myself. However, I'm pretty sure that you will be extremely happy no matter which of them you apply. With your background, and especially with your 2 different undergrads, I think that you would get a huge amount of value from these programs. So I definitely give you my thumbs up and tell you to apply, absolutely. To the questions. So first one, is there any funding that I can apply to apart from the scholarships offered by the universities? Unfortunately not. However, unfortunately not. So in Finland, we don't really have scholarships or grants for master studies, or at least they are not, apart from the scholarships that universities provide. There are some, but they're extremely rare. And usually any external or extra scholarships or grants, they focus on very specific fields. So if grants or scholarships are provided by external third-party institutions or private institutions, they usually focus on a single field because they want to support academics and studying in economics or politics or biology or whatever. So I would say that it's extremely difficult to get a grant or a scholarship from apart from the ones that are provided by the university. However, actually, since you are interested in the University of Helsinki, I just want to remind you that the University of Helsinki actually has a scholarship that it's basically a full scholarship. Right here. So a fully funded grant, which means tuition fee plus 10,000 euros, which is awesome because this will cover a lot of your living costs for 1 year. Of course, depending on how you live, in which kind of an apartment, how much you go out and travel, but this is going to cover a lot of your living costs. So if you apply to study in the University of Helsinki, you should definitely work hard on your application, all the potential application documents, the potential tests that you have to do in order for you to get this kind of a grant. This is very, first of all, this is extremely hard to get, of course, but these are also extremely rare in Finland in general. For example, Aalto University doesn't have this kind of a fully funded grant / scholarship at all. They only have tuition fee waivers. There are a couple of other universities in Finland who do have similar type of scholarships, but considering that the University of Helsinki is the highest ranking university in Finland in your field, and they have such a scholarship, I would definitely apply for that. It's going to take a lot of work. However, considering that you have a very interesting background with with 2 different undergrads, I actually think that you are in a pretty good place to get granted such a grant, of course, depending on how well you have done your school prior. Right. And the second question was, as an international student, do I have to pay insurance fees? So, yeah, as an international student, so since you come from outside of the EU, you have to get a third-party insurance for yourself. There was actually a really good question about this in one of my videos earlier this week, which was basically, why do I need an insurance? Especially considering that you already have student healthcare from the FSHS, which is the Finnish student healthcare system, basically. And the answer is that the FSHS, which offers specific healthcare services for a very cheap price or free for students, they do not have normal hospitals. So they only offer specific type of healthcare services like dentists, different therapists, etc. And if you, for example, get into an accident, you would then be driven into a public hospital. And as a non-European Union citizen, you are not entitled for free healthcare in Finland, which is why you need an insurance. If you are a European Union citizen and you have a European Union healthcare card, then I think you are eligible to use the Finnish public healthcare service for free, basically. So basically, this is the reason why you need an insurance, in addition to the FSHS services as well. I hope that answered your question. The next question comes from Jan, who comes from Kazakhstan. Oh, Christ. Kazakhstan. I don't, for some reason, the KHST get me all confused. Anyhow, he's applying in the next application period to Aalto University, YAMK, or University of Turku. Awesome. All really good schools. And Jan is interested in computer sciences and international business. All right, that's cool. And the question is, could you please describe what are the main differences between universities and universities of applied sciences? Is it true that education obtained in a university of applied sciences is far less valuable than the education obtained in a regular university in Finland? Jan, this is an excellent question, and I actually ranted about this for 20 minutes in the live stream last week, where I went into a lot of detail about this. Also, I don't want you to go and look for the exact point because the live stream was over 3 hours long. However, I have a video about this very specific question coming up next week. So I recommend that you put on all notifications in order to get notified when I actually post that video. I will go into a lot of detail. However, to summarize here, just to answer your question shortly, the main differences between universities and universities of applied sciences in Finland are the following. Universities are more research-oriented and universities are more research-oriented institutions, while universities of applied sciences are more practical institutions, teaching you to a specific either to a specific field or into a specific role. For example, if you want to study therapy, you have to do that in a University of Applied Sciences because that is not taught at the university level. So universities are more science and research based, while universities of applied sciences are more practical, more like hands-on. You can actually think about universities of applied sciences as the high degree for vocational schools. That is kind of one way to think about it. The second big difference is that how master's degrees are applied, how you apply to master's degrees in these different institutions. So when you do a degree in University of Applied Sciences, when you do a bachelor's, that takes anywhere from 3.5 years to 4.5 years. If you want to do a master's after you have done a bachelor's in a University of Applied Sciences, you cannot apply directly after you have graduated as bachelor's. Instead, you have to accumulate at least 2 years, depending on the field, it could be even more, at least 2 years or more of work experience in your field before you can actually apply to do a master's. And note the word apply, because you actually have to apply through a separate application process to do a master's after you have completed a bachelor's in a University of Applied Sciences. However, then the master's in Universities of Applied Sciences, it takes around 2 years usually. However, if you apply to a university to do a bachelor's and you are admitted, you are automatically admitted to also do a master's in your own field directly after you graduate as bachelor's. So there's no application process to move from bachelor's to master's when you're doing that in university. Rather, you can start working on your master's degree courses at a university level the next day after you have graduated as bachelor's. In addition, bachelor's degrees in universities take 3 years, while at UASs it takes from 3.5 to 4.5, and the master's degrees take 2 years at university level. Then another difference is basically the fields that you can study. So you have to note that universities and universities of applied sciences teach different fields. So and different career paths basically. So a good example is the medical field. So if you want to, again, become like a physiotherapist, a occupational therapist, you have to apply to a University of Applied Sciences because those fields are not taught at all at university level. However, if you want to become a medical doctor, you have to apply to medical school, which is a university level institution. Because there's no path to become a doctor if you apply to a University of Applied Sciences. So there's a very specific distinction here between these two. However, if you, for example, since you're interested in computer sciences and international business, that's a bit different because you can study both of these fields in universities and universities of applied sciences. However, to your question about is it true that education obtained from a UAS is far less valuable than the education obtained in a regular university in Finland? No, I think that's an overestimate, or that's an overstatement. You have to understand that these are two different degrees, and none is necessarily better than the other, depending on what your aspirations are. So if you want to do a degree in international business, there are bachelor's programs that you can do in universities of applied sciences. However, if you also want to do a master's, then again, you have to accumulate multiple years of work experience in between before you can apply for a master's in business. However, if you want to do a master's, then I would say that apply for a university directly. First do a bachelor's there and then a master's. The same with computer sciences. However, having said this, in general, it is an accepted fact, and statistically this holds true. Those who hold a master's degree from a university do have higher salary levels and usually have better, faster career development than those who have done a bachelor's degree or even a master's degree in a University of Applied Sciences. This is simply because doing a university degree is a higher degree than a University of Applied Sciences. And universities are more theoretical, which basically prepare you for more consultant type jobs, whereas in a University of Applied Sciences, since it's much more practical, you basically learn specific skills instead of this super holistic thinking and such. I don't know how to explain this. I think I could talk about this for ages. I have a video coming about this topic next week where I explain this exact thing in more detail, so make sure to check that out. But I hope that this helped you with your question. Again, if you want to have as good career prospects in Finland as possible, I would say that definitely apply for a university, especially when talking about these fields. All right. Whew. The next question comes from Prabjot, who comes from India and is applying in the next application period to KAMK University in Kajaani being the city, and is interested in hospitality and tourism management. And the question is, can you tell me about the KAMK University and whether this field is good or not in Finland? Unfortunately, I can't tell you that much about KAMK because I don't have any personal experience. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I know that the program that you are referring to and thinking about is excellent. However, I cannot really say anything more because I don't have any personal experience so there is no real way for me to reflect. However, hospitality and tourism management is really big in Finland. Tourism is a really big industry here. And of course, the current situation with COVID has really hit our tourism industry badly, as everywhere else, as everywhere as well. However, if tourism and hospitality management is something that you're interested in, the KAMK University in Kajaani is definitely the right place to apply to in Finland. So highly recommended. The next question comes from Yukti Mishra from India, who is applying in the next to study in the next application period, so to Aalto University and specifically to the business management program. And the question is, I'm in 12th grade and want to study in Finland for my bachelor's, but not able to find a suitable scholarship. it's a bit expensive in Finland, so really need to get that. Right, so let's help you out there. I hope you're still here live. So, Aalto University, bachelor's in English. If we look at the different, okay, actually, never mind. There. So, Aalto University has a scholarship program for all their English taught programs if you're not a European Union citizen. The scholarships that they have are the Aalto University Scholarship Program and Aalto University Incentive Scholarship Program. So the Aalto University Scholarship Program is basically it's basically binary. So there's either 50% or 100% scholarship. And these are only granted to the best applicants. And of course, the 100% tuition fee waivers or scholarships are granted to the best of the applicants. So basically, these only cover your tuition fee, so 50% of your tuition fee and 100% of your tuition fee. If you are granted a scholarship like this, that applies to the entire degree, meaning that you don't have to apply for this multiple times. Rather, this will be given to you and it will apply to the entire degree that you do, as long as you do your degree in a normative pace, meaning 3 years for bachelor's and 2 years for master's. You apply for the scholarship using the same application form that you use to apply to Aalto University itself. So it's super easy. It's basically just a checkbox that you have to check when you fill the application form. The second scholarship type is the Aalto Incentive Program scholarship program, which is 1,500 euros, and you can actually apply for this multiple times. And this is granted if you have completed a minimum of 60 credits of studies according to your personal study plan in one academic year. 60 ECTS credits, if you don't know what this means, it's basically the study credits that we get, or the points for each course, and 60 credits is a normal pace for 1 year. So if you're able to study at a normal pace, you will be granted a 1,500 euro scholarship each year, or you can apply for this each year, if I remember correctly. So these are the two different scholarship types. Again, you apply for the incentive scholarship program after you have already done your first year. However, this scholarship program you apply to in the application form that you use to apply to study in Aalto University. So I hope that answered your question. Before I jump into the next question, I will have a quick drink and then jump into the chat for just a second. All right, let's see. Ray11 Oy asking, Oliver, what are your favorite living districts in Helsinki or Espoo? That's a good question. Well, I'm currently living in Jätkäsaari, which is a pretty expensive place. Our district it's lovely because it's next to the ocean, and it's really close to the city center. We actually have a student apartment there, so it's pretty cheap. But that is my absolute favorite. Kallio, it's really cool. It's like this hipster district in Finland that has a lot of really cool bars and hipster restaurants. Then Eira is one of the most expensive districts in Helsinki, but it's a beautiful place to walk around in because it's, again, next to the ocean. Then I'd say that the actual centrum or the center of Helsinki is really, really nice. Again, that's way too expensive for a student to live in, but it's just a nice place to walk around. And again, Alexi has a lot of live streams from the Helsinki center, which are really cool, and he shows around. So I would say that those are maybe my favorite places in Helsinki specifically. In Espoo, I don't really know which places to mention because I've never lived in Espoo myself. Otaniemi, the Aalto University campus is simply really cool, but yeah. Yevgenia saying that, yeah, being a channel member is really beneficial. I I'm very glad that you're saying this, and I really hope that everyone else agrees as well. So if you guys would like to consider becoming a member in the channel, that would be really highly appreciated. Again, you guys would be enable me to do these videos and live streams as a job, which is really cool. Nicola saying, hey, I'm considering maybe looking for a master's degree in Finland. Are there possibilities to work while I'm doing my master's? And do you have any idea how the software development industry is there? Oh, yes. So software development industry in Finland is basically the fastest growing industry in the country. And there is a massive demand for skilled people here. So if you're actually universities in Finland have a problem where a lot of people don't actually ever graduate as masters because they get jobs already while they're studying. And this is a really big problem because the Finnish universities are funded publicly and they get government funding based on the number of graduates each year. So the software development industry is booming. It's really good. So definitely recommend it. You can work if you are a European Union citizen. You can work without limitations during your studies. However, if you're not a European Union citizen, you can work for a maximum of 25 hours per week on average per term. So the hours are not calculated per week, but rather per term. So we have 2 terms, spring and autumn. And so basically, this autumn term is from late August to New Year's. So during that entire time, you can work for 25 hours per week on average. During summers and Christmas holidays, you can work without any limitations. So that's really cool. Alex is saying, Oliver, you should add the custom emojis for the members' perks. I'd spam the custom espresso emoji in the chat. That's actually a fun idea. I might actually do that for next week. Definitely, yeah. Let's see what else. Hello world saying, what are the main differences between? Oh, actually, that I got. Vikas Kushwaha asking, which colleges offer masters in computer sciences? So basically, we're talking about universities here. Aalto University, the University of Turku, I think, University of Vaasa might have one. I don't remember the exact list. I can check. If you actually want me to answer that question, make sure to join the Discord server. The link is in the description box below, and I can actually DM you the entire list of the different universities. Hamad saying, how much does studying in Finland cost for non-European Union students? In addition to the tuition fees, I actually have a video on my channel where I go through how much it costs to study in Finland per month. As a international student, I think the average monthly cost was somewhere around 700 euros that I got. Of course, when you apply for a residence permit to study in Finland, the Finnish Immigration Service requires you to have at least 560 euros per month for living costs. So that's a good benchmark. However, that is actually not that much, especially if you study or if you live in the capital region. So just take that into account. Killshot asking, which is the best university for bachelors in computer sciences? Aalto University, absolutely. They have the best program for that, definitely. Ivia saying, I wanna thank you and ask this question. Is there any age limit for international students to gain university to get admitted in university in Finland? I'm talking about bachelors. I actually don't think so. No. So for example, if you've already finished your high school when you're 17, I think you can apply. I don't think there's a limit. However, of course, if you're a minor, you probably need to get your parents' consent plus a guardian's consent to move here, and they have to be involved in the process, but I don't think there's an age limit. Don't quote me on this, but I don't think so. Pravyot, you're welcome. Of course, the whole idea in the live stream is to answer questions, so I'm happy if that helped you. Elena saying that nice mug. Yeah, this is a Guinness pint. So again, once again, disclaimer: this is water. This is not beer. Someone asked me last week why I mention this every time. That is because Finland has pretty strict alcohol marketing laws, and disclaimer, that is water. Yeah, Yevgenia saying that Jätkäsaari is perfect. We stayed there during our visit. Did you actually stay in the Clarion Hotel, so the very tall kind of skyscraper type hotel? That's because that's really cool. Vines, what's up? Oh, hey, awesome to have you here as well, this week as well. The question is, how much international students can earn from part-time jobs? It's impossible to tell you. That depends completely on the job, the field, and you personally. So absolutely impossible to answer. I would need more information to actually give you a sensible answer to that. Orange Machine, is it mandatory to write a master thesis and a bachelor thesis at Aalto? If you want to do a degree, bachelor's and master's at Aalto, any Finnish university, you have to do a thesis for both separately. Yes. It is a thesis is a mandatory step in both your bachelor's and master's degrees. Doesn't matter what the university is. Orange Machine saying, by the way, yesterday I randomly saw you in at Think Media channel. I thought it was awesome. Hey, yeah, that was actually really cool that you mentioned it. I was interviewed by, or I was a part of Sean Cannells, who is a YouTube consultant. They do live streams, and I actually got to speak with Sean, who I adore. I've been following him for years, and he has helped me so much with my kind of YouTube career, and it was a really cool experience to actually talk to him. So that's really cool that you actually, Orange Machine, I would actually like to know, do you actually do YouTube yourself, or why were you actually checking out Think Media? Just let me know in the chat. Aaron, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. You're not late at all. We started an hour ago. We're still going to go at least for an hour and a half. So you're not late at all. Anyways, the next question comes from Sarah from England. Awesome. I think Sarah, I'm not sure. Sarah, are you a first timer on the channel? Welcome. I don't think I remember seeing you here before. So welcome to the channel. I hope you're enjoying the live stream. If you are, make sure to subscribe and join our Discord server, to which I have a link in the description box below. Anyways, Sarah has not yet decided whether or not she wants to study in Finland, but is interested in any universities in and around Helsinki, so the capital. And she is interested in biology or physics. Cool, that's awesome. And the question is, hello, thank you for your channel. It's really useful. Thank you for being a member of the community. I do appreciate it. I wanted to ask if there's any student maintenance loans in Finland for a EU citizen. I already actually answered this before. So yeah, I don't think there are any loans for EU citizens. They are only for Finnish nationals as a general rule of thumb. So unfortunately, no. And of course, the question about Brexit is still open. So we don't know what's going to happen after the process has been completed. So that's a bit of an open question. Anyways, the next question comes from Nicola from Bulgaria. And he has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland. However, is interested in game development. That's cool, and that is actually game development and game industry is booming in Finland right now, has been for many years. So you should definitely consider doing a degree in Finland or come work here. The question is, I'm considering maybe looking at a master's degree in Finland. Are there possibilities to work while I'm doing my master's? And do you have any idea how the software development industry is there? Right. So I actually already answered this question. So yes, you definitely can work while you are studying here. And the software development industry, especially game development industry, is booming in Finland, and especially in the Helsinki capital region. So the game industry is not an easy industry to get into because it's such an the employers there are so popular. However, there are a lot of really cool companies, more established ones, growth companies, startup companies. For example, for you, it's relevant to know that Supercell, the developer of Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, etc., is actually a Finnish company, and they have their offices in Helsinki. Rovio, which is the developer of Angry Birds, is Finnish. And there's other really cool Finnish gaming companies that we have in Helsinki. So definitely recommend doing a master's degree in software development here. I would actually recommend that you do a master's, for a master's in computer sciences, specifically in Aalto University, because that is the highest. They have the highest ranking computer sciences program in Finland, and I know a bunch of people from there who have done already a really cool career in game development or game industry. So highly recommended. Anyhow, the next question comes from Abhi, and the question is relating to the first question on permanent residencies. After doing a master's in Finland with a B permit, which is for 2 years, doesn't the Finnish government consider the 2 years permit, 2 years of B permit, and reduce 4 years of A permit to just 3 years to be eligible? That's a really good question, and now that you mention it, I'm not actually completely sure. That's a really good question, and what I would actually, Abhi, if you could please send me a friend request on Discord, and after I accept this, please send me the same question there as well. And I will reach out. I will call the Finnish Immigration Service and actually ask about this. They're currently extremely busy and they are pretty slow in answering via email, so I would not recommend you reaching out to them. Rather, I will actually call their customer service and ask about this, and I will most likely get an answer really quickly. And so reach out to me with a DM on Discord, and I'll actually find out the answer, because I'm not completely sure, and I don't want to give you wrong information on this topic. Cool. All right, and the next question comes from Arjun, again, who is from India and is applying to study in Finland, specifically at Aalto University, the program of automation and electrical engineering in the next application period. Arjun is a regular on the channel. Awesome to have you here as always. The question is, if we get accepted by a company for internship in the same field of study, how many hours are we allowed to work? And how soon as international students are we allowed to apply for internships? If we're studying in Finland, are we allowed to do internships in any of the Nordic countries? Great questions. Let's break this down piece by piece. So if you, okay, so let's actually, I'll just show you, just a moment. It's really difficult to formulate this in my head, so I'll just show how this works. So when you actually study in Finland, you have a residence permit for your studies. The residence permit for one's studies allows you to work for 25 hours per week during the academic terms, and on average 25 hours per week. Once again, I've mentioned this already before during the stream, but that 25 hours per week is calculated per term. So 25 hours on average per week between September and the end of December, right? And then between January and the end of June, right? During summer you can work without restrictions. And it's really important to know regarding your question that most internships are actually done during summer, because companies want interns to work full time, meaning that the summer is usually the only time that students can work full time. So the majority of internships are done during the summer. So that means that you can work without any restrictions then. However, to answer your other questions, the field in which you get an internship does not impact how much you can work, because it is not relevant to your degree. So again, if we go back to the same web page, it says that you can work without restrictions if your work is related to your degree. So a lot of people interpret this as, okay, if I work in the same field that I'm studying, I can work without restrictions. No, that's not how this works. So how this works is that if you have to do for example, an internship that is a part of your degree, so you actually get credits into your personal study plan or towards your degree, then you can work without restrictions. However, if your work is not related to your degree, then you can only work 25 hours per week on average. Your other questions about how soon are international students allowed to apply for internships? There's no limitations here, so you can apply basically as soon as you want. Again, do note that most of the internships are actually done during summer. However, most big companies start recruiting for their next year's internships already in October the previous year. So you have to apply like 6 or 9 months before. And then if we're studying in Finland, are we allowed to do an internship in any other Nordic country? Yes, you are. However, then again, you have to take into account that you would then be working in another country, meaning that the taxation is going to work a bit differently, and there's a lot of things that you have to take into account. There's no restrictions on that, but the only thing that might be different is that if you're, for example, from India, and you want to do an internship in Norway, you might need to get a residence permit there as well for that internship. I'm not completely sure how this works, but you just keep in mind that there might be some hoops that you need to jump through. Let's see. The next question, anyhow, I hope that answered your questions. Really good questions, by the way. Anyhow, the next question comes from Denise, and the question is, what is the frequency of Finns in English taught programs? Is it more difficult to get admitted for an international student to English taught programs? All right, so this is a okay, so first of all, there's two questions here, and the first question has to be divided into two sections. So the first question was, what is the frequency or the number of Finnish students in English taught programs? So first of all, it's really important to note that the majority of master's programs in Finland nowadays are actually all taught in English. So there's only a very small amount of master's programs across the country that are taught in Finnish, and most of these are in hard sciences, in healthcare sector related stuff, and in other fields that require you to learn Finnish regulation, for example. However, for example, like I think maybe all or almost every single one of master's programs in economics or business across universities in Finland are English. So it's a bit of a different question depending on bachelor's programs and English master's program, because all master's programs are in English, while a very small amount of bachelor's programs are in English. Most of them are still in Finnish. Taking this into account, the number of Finns in English-taught bachelor's programs is very small. And one of the reasons is that when we apply to study in Finnish programs, we have a separate application system compared to an English-taught program. And most people still find it much easier as Finnish natives to apply for the Finnish-taught programs. So the number of Finns in English-taught bachelor's programs is still extremely small. But that is also by design, because the English-taught bachelor's programs are mostly intended for international students. So we are not really encouraged to apply for English-taught bachelor's as native Finns. Then the second question was, is it more difficult to get admitted for an international student? Not necessarily, no. Again, we have completely separate application systems for Finnish students and international students, so they're not comparable at all. They're completely separate processes with different exams, etc. So in that case, no. Statistically speaking, I think, I don't have the exact numbers, but like for Finnish students who apply to universities, the admission rate, depending on school, is somewhere between 10 to 15%, depending on the university. I would guess that that is somewhere pretty close for international students as well, but I haven't seen the exact numbers. Then my second question is, as you know, EEA or European Economic Area, meaning basically Switzerland. There's a couple of countries, so Switzerland is one of them. EEA members or citizens do not pay tuition fees. That's correct. As a Swiss citizen, do we need a residence permit when we come to Finland? And when we come to Finland, do we have to have money in our bank account to cover our annual expenses? I think it's 560 euros per month, basically. So 6,700 euros per year. Yeah. That is a really good question. Let me check. I have to check. Let's see. So the question is, do EU or EEA citizens need to apply for a residence permit? No, you do not need to apply for a residence permit, but you must register your residence. So you have a right to move to Finland without a residence permit, but you need to register at the local municipality, basically. I actually have, now that you asked about this, I have a video explaining the exact process on the channel. I think the video is called Things That You Need to Do After You Move to Finland as a Student or something like this. And I actually go through the process, but you can also check this website from Aalto University, so Aalto after admission, after admission to master studies for new students. Check out this website. You can actually, there's links that to the Finnish Immigration Services website that explain the process in detail, and they also have the links to the different municipality officials that you have to reach out to in order to register your right of residence. So. To your question about do you need a residence permit as a EEA citizen? No, you do not. You need to register your residence. You need to register your right of residence as a EEA citizen. All right, before I jump into the next questions, I will jump back into the chat for just a second. Excuse me. Let's see. Killshot saying, your videos really helped me a lot for preparing. That's awesome to hear. I'm very glad to hear that. That is the entire reason why this channel exists. So if I wouldn't be able to help you with these videos, there would actually be no point of actually having the channel or for the channel to even exist. So I'm really happy to hear this. Then Rico's Wave saying, sup bro, sup. I'm doing actually pretty well. What about if you're in your 30s? What about what if you're in your 30s? Depending on the question, I guess. So if you have a question somewhere behind there, just let me know, and I'll give you an answer. Ivia saying thank you for answering. You're welcome. Rajat joined the live stream. What's up? Welcome to the live stream. I hope you're getting value. By the way, if you actually are getting value out of this live stream, I would actually really appreciate if you guys could give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe for more videos about studying and working in Finland. And I would also recommend that you put on all notifications because that's the only way to make sure that you actually get notified when I upload a new video or when I go live. In addition, if you're interested in learning more about studying and working in Finland, consider joining our Discord server. The idea of the server is to build a community of people interested in studying and working in Finland. And on the server, I post updates about videos and upcoming live streams, and we have a bit more personal dialogue compared to the YouTube comments. And there's a invite link that you can use in the description box below. So if you want to jump into the Discord server, use the link below. Yevgenia answering to my question about the hotel. No, we booked the apartment through Airbnb and we loved the district. Yeah, it's actually really great. Depending on when you actually were here, the area has been developed a huge amount because it's still an ongoing development process. And there's a lot of really cool new places like there's a new sporting facility there. There's an entire football field that is turned into an ice hockey rink every winter. There's this beautiful seaside boulevard that they're currently building into the Jätkäsaari district. So it's a really lovely place to live in. Rajat saying, I'm coming to Finland in January and I don't know what to do about clothing. Since January is peak winter. I would actually say that February is peak winter because usually February is the coldest month in the year. And it's also when we have our like local skiing holidays or skiing holiday week. I will actually have a video about how to prepare for the Finnish winter in the future. However, for now, I would really recommend that you check out Alexi himself. Winter. This one. Check out both of these videos from Alexi. How to survive winter 10 tips, and then what to wear in Finland in winter, quick guide to combat winter. This especially is a really good video. Alexi does a great job in explaining how to actually dress up for winter, and he goes through the concept of layers and layer clothing. Excuse me. And I think that these are really great value. I will make my own personal take on this topic in the future, in the upcoming weeks. However, for now, I really recommend that you check out these two. Excuse me. Vinay saying, check out the Google form. There are some more questions waiting for you. Yeah, definitely. There's a bunch of questions. I just want to go through the chat and acknowledge everyone who's here. Orange Machine saying that I was looking to get brand deals for YouTube, and the video got recommended. You were not in the thumbnail, so I was surprised when I saw you in the video. So talking about the interview that I was in. That's actually really cool. Orange Machine, actually, if you want to chat about YouTube in general, actually you could reach out to me in LinkedIn, and we could just, for example, have a after work beer or a coffee, for example, if you'd like to discuss YouTube as a career, because I have a lot to say about the topic. Sigurd saying, do you like Tefu Wednesday spaghetti? Sure. I think so. I've been to Tefu for the Wednesday spaghetti. So Tefu is basically a student restaurant in Otani, not in Otaniemi, but in Helsinki, in one of the campus areas, and they have a Wednesday spaghetti, which is really, really popular. It's really cool. All right, I think I will jump back into the form to get further with the questions. And actually, the next one comes from, again, the only channel member, Yevgenia, who is from Lithuania and is applying to study in Finland in the next application period to study tourism management. And the question is, what is the employer's attitude towards the remote work? For example, an IT engineer wants to work in Finland, in Helsinki or Espoo, but to live in a smaller Finnish town. Is it possible, or is it more preferred to work in an office? That's a really good question, and of course this year is completely exceptional to the norm because everyone is working remotely. However, I would actually say that many of the things that we've learned this year, 2020, because of COVID, about remote work, most likely will hold after COVID has passed. So I think that since remote working opportunities and all the software and the processes are already in place, I actually think that this might become even more normal or common after we're done with COVID. So I would say that the attitude of Finnish employers towards remote work has become more positive day by day, and of course it saves a lot of costs for many employers. So I would actually say that could be potentially a way to go in the future, of course after we're done with COVID. So yeah, sure. And especially in a field like IT or software development, that's the best field for working remotely, because that's one of those only fields that actually doesn't require your physical presence at the office when you're working. Yevgenia also asking in the chat, when do you have holidays in Finland, like skiing holidays, and how long do they last? So skiing holidays in Finland, let me just check super quickly. The skiing holidays is on week 40. No, I'm sorry. Autumn holiday is in week 42, which is, let's see. Mm. Right, so week 42, which is 12th of October until 6th of October, so that's 1 week, week holiday. And then we have skiing holiday, which is, let's see, in February, usually at the end of February. So, and that's 1 week as well. So we have these two annual holidays specifically for school. Which this does not apply to universities. This is mostly for school children, and they're a week long. But they're also very popular for families to take their holidays together. Because of course the kids are out of school then. Summer holidays in Finland are almost so summer holidays, depending on whether you or not you work, it's going to the length of your summer holidays is going to depend on whether or not you work. If you are a student, the summer holidays start early June and they end late August, so that's almost 3 months. Normally, we have annual statutory leave for full-time employers, which is 30 days, depending on the collective agreement in your field. And a lot of people hold multiple weeks of holiday in July because that's the kind of the quiet holiday month in Finland in general. And then Yevgenia saying, actually, I watched Alex's video about winter clothes before coming to Finland. Yeah, that's a really, really good video. I definitely recommend it. Highly recommend it. Anand saying that, Oliver, just wanted to say that you're doing a great job. Do you have any idea about non-EU citizens becoming pilots for Finnair, which is the Finnish government-owned airline? Can a non-European citizen study at Patria Flying School in Pirkka? First of all, Anand, thank you so much for the positive feedback. Actually, you had some of the feedback already in one of the comments that I didn't have the time to answer yet. I do appreciate it a huge amount. Actually, if you think if you're getting value out of the videos and the content that I'm creating, I would actually ask you to consider joining as a channel member by clicking the join button below the video. As a member, you will get a bunch of different perks that are listed in the window that it pops up when you click the join button somewhere here below the video. About the Patria Flying School, I don't know, but if you actually want to know more about this, if you could, Anand, please contact me directly via our Discord server. There's a link to the server below in the description box below, and I will actually find out because I don't know. It's a really good flying school, but I have a feeling that they only take Finnish citizens. Not entirely sure though, so contact me directly and I'll find out. Anyhow, moving on. Meme review. The next question in the form comes from Khalil, who comes from Algeria and is starting school this semester, or started school this semester in Lahti University of Applied Sciences in the bachelor's program in Business Information Technology. And the question is, hi Oliver, I got admitted recently to Lab University. Congratulations, that is awesome to hear. For January 2021 intake. And I paid my tuition fees and I'm preparing for my residence permit application. Do you think I have enough time to continue my application and be there on the 2nd of January? What should I do? Do I have enough time to continue my application and be there by the 2nd of January? What should I do in the meanwhile? I would start making a bucket list. A bucket list of things that you want to do here in Finland. Start looking at different videos, for example, from Alex's channel. Start looking for videos on YouTube from international vloggers, travel vloggers who are traveling in Finland and they showcase different travel destinations. Start making a plan of what kind of places you want to go to and visit. What cities do you want to visit? Do you want to, especially since you come here in January, again, congratulations. Do you, for example, want to go to visit Lapland during the winter, etc.? I would start working on this kind of bucket list. Second thing, I would definitely recommend that you start learning some Finnish. Again, it's not mandatory at all, but I think that you will get more out of your experience here if you have at least learn some basic day-to-day Finnish language. Uh, it's enough to be able to introduce yourself, say hello, maybe ask for the way or the directions in the city, and that would be really cool. I actually have a video where I have, I think, 10 free resources to learn Finnish. So you can check that out from my channel. And Alexi himself also has a lot of different tools for learning Finnish as well. So go ahead and check those out. So I think a bucket list and then start working on your Finnish language skills. I'd say those are the kind of two things that I would recommend. In addition, when I get my video about the Finnish winter online, I recommend that you check that out as well, so that you know how to prep yourself for the Finnish winter. But yeah, cool. Welcome to Finland. I'm sure that you're going to enjoy yourself here a lot. Oh, excuse me, guys. Excuse me. Anyhow, the next question comes from Arjun. And the question is, in my country, we do not have GPA scaling. We get grading and percentages. So do we compare grading with GPAs? I sent an email to the university, but they didn't respond properly. Is there any way that I can get a phone number to discuss? So I don't know how to start scaling up or scale or compare the GPA. So I'm really not that much of a help here. I do recommend that you contact the university admission services directly via phone during Finnish office hours. Of course, the time difference is going to be a bit of a problem, but since you are applying to Aalto University, I really recommend that you contact the admission services on the phone, because they usually answer there a bit better. So here is the number. Oh, excuse me. Let me see. Hey, that's correct. So technology and engineering. So that is the correct number for you to use to contact the admission services. I would also recommend that you send a new email to the admissions email as well, just to ask them to reiterate or to tell you a bit more details about it, because again, this is a problem. I do understand them if they're not able to give you a definite answer, because it is extremely difficult for the admission services in Finland to know and understand how to grade and scale different GPAs from around the world, considering that there's hundreds of different high school systems around the world, and it might be that they're not able to do it. However, I would still try once more, at least via phone, and once more via email, and hope that they're able to give you a more concrete answer. I'm no help here, unfortunately, because I have no experience on scaling or comparing the GPAs, unfortunately. The next question comes from Hiba Kagi, who is from Tunisia, and the question is there a pre-master's program that I can apply for, or extra courses I can take in Finland before starting my master's programs? I'd rather not finish my second bachelor's in France, but I'm afraid that I don't have the subject requirements to apply for a master's that I mentioned. Okay, I get it. So yeah, okay, so what she's talking about is that when you apply for a master's program in Finland, in a Finnish university, one of the most important prerequisites or the requirements for applying is that you need to have a prior bachelor's degree that makes you eligible to apply for that master's. So let me give you an example. If you want to do a master's in business and you have a bachelor's degree in business, in software development, you're not able to apply for a master's in business, and vice versa. So if you have a bachelor's in computer sciences or biology, for that matter, you're not able to apply for a master's in business. So the bachelor's degree that you have prior has to have something to do with the field that you would like to study in your master's. So this is actually something that is a bit different from some other countries where your bachelor's or undergrad might have nothing to do with your master's. Especially if you're in the US system, that might be like super different. So this is something that you really need to take into account. To your question, I'm not sure if there are any like pre-master programs, and what I would do is again, please contact the University of Helsinki admission services directly with this question. My guess, unfortunately, is that they will just tell you that I'm sorry that there is no pre-programs or courses that you can take, because you have to have a bachelor's degree, a full bachelor's on that field, in that field. So I think that they're going to recommend that you should apply for a bachelor's in Finland, which is not optimal, of course, but that is one way to do it, especially if you were able to get a full scholarship plus a grant. So again, this is my guesswork, so I would say that contact the university directly to get a more concrete answer. But that's what that's what I guess. By the way, guys, there's a bunch of new people in the stream that I just noticed. So first of all, welcome, guys. If this is the first time you are in these live streams, just let me quickly explain how these work. So if you want me to answer any of your questions about living, studying, or working in Finland, I have a Google form that is linked into the description box below. And if you want me to answer your questions live, please post your question into the Google form, which means that I will get them here in front of my face on my computer. And that means that I will not miss any of your questions because the chat is too busy. And that will also allow me to answer all the questions in a first come, first serve basis. So just a heads up, if you post your question in the chat, it is likely that I will miss it and I will not be able to answer it during this live stream. Right, so the next question from the form comes from Arjun. And the question is, I have a master's degree from Australia and bachelor's degree from India. That is actually pretty awesome. I'm thinking about applying for a second master's at Aalto. Should I certify my master's and bachelor's degrees before sending them to the university? Yes, I think so. So again, actually, let's just let's actually just check directly what the requirements are. Yeah, so there is a deadline for officially certified study certificates that you need to send to the university. Deadline for a certified copy of the degree certificate as well. So I would say that you need to, in the application phase, scanned color copies of the original study documents, i.e. bachelor's degree certificate and transcript of records, are uploaded to the online application system. Yeah, so I am not completely sure whether or not you need to. So it says that it's a bachelor's degree or master's degree certificate, but that can mean multiple things. However, I would say that you need to certify them just in case. Again, here, the Aalto University admission services will be able to give you a definite answer, so I really recommend that you send them an email about this. However, I would say that your best bet is to certify them before you actually send them. Yeah, just to make sure. They do have specific requirements for the documents, but again, I don't have the time to go read the entire page because there's so many details. But that website that I just visited has all the information, and you can always ask for more information from the from the other admission services. All right. The next question comes from Arjun as well. And the question is, do we need to submit European Standard Curriculum Vitae CV when applying for a master's? And do you recommend any template to prep your CV? And what should we include in the CV? That's a very good question. I don't think that you need to specifically have your CV in a European standard, because that's a European standard is it's not a very specific definition, basically. What I recommend is that actually, I don't think that matters that much, because the admission services have to take into account that people apply from around the world. This is not a job application. Take that into account. So your CV doesn't have the formulation of your CV doesn't have that much impact on your application as it would have if you were actually applying for a job. If you want to get examples of CVs, I would say that just go to Canva. So that's again, if you want examples of CVs and how to create a good CV template, just go to Canva and check. Just a moment. Just Google Canva CV template, and you can actually get free CV templates from here. Just keep in account that keep in mind that some of these are a bit too like designery or too graphical. So for example, this one I think is perfectly okay. I think this one is okay as well. This is a bit too much in my opinion. This is also a bit too much in my opinion. This is very good. This is actually pretty standard that we see quite a lot nowadays as in recruitment companies. All of kind of like these. Don't go for the overkill design version like this one or this one or this one. Just have something that is pretty standard. The most important thing is that you simply have all of your information formulated in such a way that it's easy to read and easy to digest. So it should not take an hour for you to read through your CV. Instead, you should be able to actually skim through your CV in just like 30 seconds or 1 minute. And then if you want to read more, then you can spend more time. But just keep this in mind, I would say. Yevgenia saying that, by the way, Canva has a lot of awesome templates and it's very convenient to create a CV. That's true. They also have free templates for application letters, whatever basically you need for graphic design. However, the only thing that I would recommend to keep in mind with Canva is that Canva, for some reason, they have had multiple security breaches during the last few years, and a lot of their user information has been leaked. So if you already have a profile in Canva, what I recommend is that you go and change your password just in case. For example, my old password was leaked, so I had to change it earlier this year. So just keep in mind that for some reason they have had some security issues during the last 2 years. Anyhow, the next question comes from Yevgenia. And the question is, what is the sum of money that a family has to have when moving to Finland from the European Union? We are a family of 3, my husband, my 10-year-old daughter, and me. Thank you. So I think that as a family, you don't have to necessarily take into account your kid or child. Again, Yevgenia, I could try to confirm this and get back to you on Discord. However, when you move as a family and you consider, for example, just yourself and your husband, I think the same numbers apply to you. So if you come here with a study permit or residence permit for your studies, you need to have that 560 euros per month for yourself. And then if your husband is a student as well, then he needs the same sum. However, if your husband is going to work, then just having a full-time job here should be enough to get a residence permit. However, if he doesn't have a job before when you move here, then that's a different case, and then I would need to check the Finnish Immigration Service for the exact sum per month. Also, again, the child, I don't remember exactly how it works with children. I could check that out afterwards. But again, I would recommend to check out the websites from the Finnish Immigration Service and reach out to them, not via email because they're extremely slow in responding to emails. But I would actually recommend that you guys reach out to the Finnish Immigration Service using their chatbot. With the chatbot, maybe I'll just show this too, is easier. So when you're on the Finnish Immigration Services website, use this chatbot. Oops, excuse me. Maybe now you can see a bit better. On the right corner, for some reason it doesn't show completely, they have a chatbot, and if you just write here, can I talk to a person? It should prompt a message. I'm afraid I don't have any human colleagues with me at the moment, but normally during the Finnish office hours, it will say that, would you like to speak to a person? And then you click yes, and then from there, you will be put into a queue with a service customer service agent, and you can ask for some questions. My experience is that they very rarely give you like really direct answers. Rather, they just give you links to the proper website or the web page, which is a bit frustrating, but I think that this is the fastest way of reaching the Finnish Immigration Service on like quick questions like this. Yeah, Yevgenia, the Canva has had some security issues. For example, if you use Google Chrome and you have an extension there, I don't remember the exact extension, or if you use the password automation tool on Chrome, it can actually give you a notification if your password has been breached. So I got notified that way. Anyhow, the next question comes from Rajat, who comes from India, is already studying in Finland, Aalto University, and specifically studying data sciences. Awesome. And the question is, I am coming to Finland in January, and I don't know what to do about clothing. So I partly answered this already. Could you advise how can I buy clothing that is not expensive? Sure. So especially since you are already in Helsinki, or the capital region, studying in Aalto, there are a few stores that I could recommend you to check out. First one is UFF, which sells second-hand clothing. They have multiple stores in Helsinki. One is actually next to the Kamppi shopping center, which is in dead center of Helsinki. So I would recommend checking out UF. Let's see, UF Kamppi. So if you check out where it actually is, oh, never mind. Right. So this is Kamppi. This is we have one of the biggest shopping centers in Helsinki right here, and this is where they have the OF store. So it's really close. And as a context to everyone, basically this area here is the center of Helsinki. So the city of Helsinki is much bigger. The entire area here. However, this is the center. And as context, again, the Aalto University campus, Otaniemi, is right here. So this is about 7 kilometers of distance between them right here, just as context. Then there's a couple of other secondhand shops that you can use. I don't remember them exactly, but again, if you could please, Rajat, if you could please contact me, for example, through the Discord server, I could actually send you a couple of links. I have to dig up a couple of websites, and then I can provide them to you. I don't remember them out of the top of my head. Cool. The next question comes from Yevgenia, and the question is, what are the most popular IT fields in Finland? If a person works with JavaScript, what kind of companies can he apply to? So actually, this is a really good question, and I partly answered this in I already partly answered this in the Discord server, so I'll actually read directly from my answer there. So if you look at the most popular programming languages in Finland, this is really difficult question to answer because, of course, that depends on your field or your specialization. However, if you look at the most commonly used programming languages from the perspective of the job market, so what kind of programming languages do the companies actually ask for? A Finnish IT website collected data from multiple sources to compile a list of the top 10 most in-demand programming languages in 2020. And these are in ascending order. Python, C, Java, Go, C++, JavaScript, R, HTML, Swift, and SQL. So these are the most sought after programming languages by companies. So JavaScript is very high, or in middle there, so it's very popular. On the other hand, the leading IT recruitment company in Finland posted a list of the best employers in IT in Finland. And do note that this list is from 2017, so it is relatively outdated. However, the list is still pretty interesting because you can see a difference in the programming languages that these companies need. So compared to the ones that are more popular across the IT field in Finland. So the languages that the most popular IT employers in Finland use are Scala, React, Node.js, Docker, JavaScript, Java, Ruby, PHP, C#, Objective-C, Linux, AWS, iOS, Android, MySQL, etc. So you can see that the most in-demand languages are not necessarily the most sexy or most popular languages per se. Then what IT jobs are popular / highly paid? Already have had an answer here. This might have changed a bit since the last time I checked, but while I was working at A-Talent Recruiting, which is a recruitment company specializing in hiring university-educated people, the trend was that the following overall programming jobs were super hard to fill. The following programming jobs were super hard to fill because they weren't enough proficient people in the right languages. So meaning that these following languages are extremely highly sought after. These programming specializations are highly sought after, and usually these pay really good salary. Cloud, basically anything that has to do anything with cloud. Mobile development, so iOS and Android, especially iOS because that is not taught at all in any university in Finland. So most really good iOS developers in Finland are hobbyists who have learned the Apple's own developer platform on their own, and this is why they have really, really high salaries because they don't have that much competition, and there's a huge demand for iOS developers. Then there's embedded developers, so anyone who develops software really close to hardware. Those are extremely difficult to find. Then if you work in security, like game security or software security overall, these guys are really sought after, and most of the people that we, for example, recruited to our customers were actually hackers who had been hacking, or they were either white hat or black hat hackers who wanted to start working for security companies. So that's really cool. And then the final one is game development. So all of these are really, really sought after, and companies pay really good salaries for these specializations. So yeah, I would say that these are the best ones. Of course, JavaScript is very popular, but for example, if you think about like web development in general, there's plenty of web developers in Finland, and of course it's a bit more lower. The barrier of entry to web development is a bit lower than, for example, to game development, so the salaries are not as high. And if you really want to do good money, then you should specialize in something that is pretty rare. For example, mobile development, or basically like ethical hackers. Yeah, so white hat hackers. So basically, there were one of our customers was this Finnish company that built anti-hacking software for gaming companies. And for example, their product is used in I have to check. let's see. Yeah, their product is actually used by Epic Games and I'm sorry, not Overwatch, but God, help me, guys. Come on. What is the most popular shooter FPS for 2020? Are you kidding me? Whatever. Most of you probably know what I mean, but basically their product was used by big gaming companies, and they basically hired a lot of like ethical hackers who had already been building their own anti-hacking systems while they were playing like Counter-Strike or something like this. Cool. The next question comes from Karina, again from Peru. And the question is, in Lima, Peru, we have lots of language exchange events in bars or cafes. This is a very good way to meet other internationals in the city. Do you have something similar in Helsinki? That's actually a really good question. I don't know, and I've never heard of these kind of events, so I would say that they're not that common here. Fortnite, thank you. Mohammed, yes, Fortnite, for Pete's sake, with my brain today. So yeah, our customer, basically, they developed this anti-hacking system that they sold to Epic Games, which develops Fortnite, and it's very effective. And most of the developers that they have are like white hat hackers. So yeah, so basically they were all like hobbyists. They didn't learn any of the hacking in school, of course, or the technologies there. So yeah. Yeah, exactly. Easy Anti-Cheat is actually the company. Yeah, that's correct. Actually, it's a public reference, so I can actually mention it out loud. Yeah, Easy Anti-Cheat is the company and their product. That's actually cool that you know about this. Nice. Anyhow, yeah, back to the question. So about like these language exchange events in bars or cafes. So no, I don't think we have that many of those, but again, taking into account that we have a very active student community, and the student culture in Finland is really active, and especially if you come as an international student here in like the biggest, especially in the biggest universities, like for you in the University of Helsinki, the international student association or body, whatever it is called, that takes care of international students, especially in the beginning of their studies. They are extremely active. So meaning that some university tutors or organizations might actually pick you up from the airport and make sure that you actually get integrated into the country well, and you can have a good start with your studies. And then these people meet a lot, so you basically build your own communities and these kind of language exchange communities within the different student organizations. However, I'm pretty sure that there are some language exchange events in bars or cafes. I've never simply just heard of them, so I don't really know where to direct you to, but I would say that being active in your local student community is definitely one of the best ways to go. Next question comes from Abbas from Iran. I saw. Just as a disclaimer, that is also water. Abbas comes from Iran, not Iran, Iran. I'm not an American. And he has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in aerospace engineering. And the question is, what's the age limit to become a fighter pilot in Finland? That's a really good question. I don't think there's necessarily an age limit that is going to limit you. Homicidal Chimpanzee, awesome to have you here. Welcome to the live stream. Again, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, I have the link to the Google form in the description box below, so make sure to post your question there. So the thing, if you want to become a military fighter pilot, which is fighter pilot, obviously military. Unfortunately, you cannot do that in Finland unless you are a Finnish national. So in order to go to a military fighter pilot school, you would, or the way that Finnish fighter pilots are educated is that you have to be a Finnish national, so that you can do the mandatory Finnish military service that is 1 year long in Finland. After that, you have to apply for the Finnish military academy, which is basically the same as West Point, but in Finland. And that's basically the local like officer school, which is a university level school. And then you would need to apply to the fighter pilot program, which is the acceptance rate is extremely low, and the education is very long. And I think you need to, if I remember correctly, you need to work for the Finnish Defense Force for at least 10 years. Or if you quit before, you have to pay for your education, which is in the hundreds of thousands of euros. So basically, again, you need to be a Finnish citizen to even consider becoming a fighter pilot. If you want to become a pilot or an engineer, an aerospace engineer, then there's multiple different choices for you. And actually, very interesting, Finland has a growing space industry, specifically in satellites. And if you're interested in aerospace engineering and specifically working with satellites, I would definitely recommend that you check out Aalto University School of Engineering, because they have some really interesting programs there that you could study. And I think that Finland is like a newcomer, a new growing star in Europe in space sciences. So that should be really, really cool. All right, next question comes from E from Great Britain. Cheerio. And he is already studying in Finland and studying information technology. And the question is, you are really cute. Are you single? No, I am actually not. I've been dating with my current girlfriend. We've been together for over 7 years. And we have a lovely dog called Bella, a poodle. So yeah, no, I'm not single. I've been dating for quite many years now with my current girlfriend. But I do appreciate the question. The next question comes from Stefan from England. Actually, really cool that we are having a lot of people from Britain today. Awesome. Anyhow, Stefan is applying in the next application period to a Finnish high school. And I'm going to move through high school to university, learning Finnish along the way. That's actually pretty cool. And the question is, am I eligible for toimeentulotuki, which is basically a Finnish government grant or a stipend, if I study and work in Finland? That's a really interesting question. So I don't know the answer to this. However, considering that that Britain is still a part of the EU officially, I think Brexit is it already in? I don't know. If Britain is still in the EU officially, the whole process is taking so long. I'm completely lost with where Brexit is going at this moment. If you are the reason why I'm thinking about this is that as a European Union citizen, you might have the opportunity to actually apply for these Finnish government grants. It doesn't apply to all European Union citizens. However, there are some exceptions, and it's definitely worth actually looking into this. So what I would recommend, Stefan, that we do is that join the Discord server. Again, if you're not a member, the link is in the description box below. Send me this question there separately, for example, like a DM or in the questions and answers channel that you can find there, and I will look into this. I will call the Finnish Social Security Service, Kela, and I will check whether or not you're eligible. Agreed? Cool. Yevgenia saying that Brexit happens officially in December. Right. That might be true. I'm completely lost on the process because it's uh, yeah. Actually, a really good point from Abhishek to another question prior. Uh, a Finnish citizen quoted this: "If you have had the B permit, B residence permit before you apply for a continuous A residence permit, so A and B meaning the type of residence permits, half of the time you have spent in Finland with the B permits can be added to the time lived on in the country." That's actually a really interesting point. So that's really really important to take into account, meaning that basically, let's see, B permit was B B B B B. I have to check which one was B permit, a B permit. Oh, never mind. I can't find it. Anyways, that's a really good point. Thanks, Abhishek, for contributing to the discussion. Yeah, I'm not completely sure if we can trust that again. Yeah, especially since these are always the residence permits are always processed case by case. So I would have to confirm that from the Finnish Immigration Service. Topoyo, you didn't miss much. You can always go ahead and check out the replay. Anyways, it's really awesome to have you here again, as with all the regulars. I'm sorry I haven't been able to answer all of your comments and questions. For example, in the Discord, I will get back to them after the weekend is over because I've had an insane week and there's so many different questions and comments all over the place, and I simply haven't had the time to go through all of them this week. Anyways, the next question in the form comes from Isaac from France, and he has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in studying at Aalto University. And the question is, how bad is it living in winter in Helsinki? Is it really that miserable and depressing, or is it a bit blown out of proportion? It's totally it is totally blown out of proportion. So basically, this is a really good question. I want to talk about this for a moment because this is a really important topic. So a lot of people, me included, I joke about this all the time. We joke that living in Finland, especially in the southern coast, during winter is miserable because it's dark and it's gloomy and it's cold. And what this alludes to is that nowadays in south of Finland we get snow really late. So in Helsinki, for example, last winter, so 2019-2020 winter, we didn't have any snow in Helsinki the entire winter. That was completely abnormal. That has never happened before in the history. And it's partly due to climate change, partly due to an annual cycle in the climate, and then of course some people say that there's something to do also with the sun's activity, because the more active the sun is, the warmer the milder the winters are going to be here in general as well. And the thing about a dark winter here, so without snow, is that because the especially in November, I think currently we're actually like a week or two away from the shortest day of the year, meaning that we have the least amount of sunlight during in one day compared to any other day in the year. So, and after that, the days start getting a bit longer every single day, like a couple of minutes longer day by day. And so the November period of the Finnish winter is pretty bad because it's so dark and we only have a few hours of daylight. However, this is completely different depending on where you are. Because, for example, if you're in Lapland and you have a lot of snow, just having snow on the ground and everything being white, it's so much easier to deal with because snow reflects so much light, city lights, the moonlight, etc., that you don't have the same darkness or the feeling of darkness and gloominess that you have in places where you don't have snow. And So this is why we're saying that like November is the shittiest month in Finland, because usually we don't have necessarily snow here. It's the darkest month of the year. This year has been especially shitty because we had a lot of rain, like just water, and it hasn't been that cold. It's been like plus 10 degrees Celsius, which is again completely abnormal. So it hasn't been that cold, but water, it's not nice. But still, I think it is completely blown out of proportion, and it's just a joke that we throw around. After you get snow and after we get like really cold weather, I think it's brilliant. Winter here is brilliant. Actually, I prefer having really good sub-zero degrees compared to having like +2 or -1 or 0 degrees. Because the thing is that when you have like -10 or -15 degrees Celsius, the weather is usually a bit more dry. So that means that there's not that much moisture in the air, which means that it's easier to dress for the weather. It's very difficult to explain, but the more you have moisture in the air, the colder you feel, as a general rule of thumb, and the more difficult it is for you to dress for the weather. For example, yesterday was like +5 degrees, but we had really heavy winds, and I had a sweater and a t-shirt and a really thin shell jacket, which doesn't insulate at all, and I was sweaty when I walked to work. And when you get sweaty and it's still pretty cold, like a couple of degrees above freezing, you're going to get cold. You're going to be cold all the time, and that's really crappy. However, when you have like -15 or -16, it's much easier to dress for the weather, and you don't sweat as easily because the cold is just going to absorb all the moisture from your skin and etc. And it's just overall nicer. And actually, talking about this, I want to show you how it looked this morning in Helsinki when I was walking to work at 8 a.m. So this is actually earlier I talked about the Eira district, which is one of the southernmost districts in Helsinki. You can actually see the ocean here, and you have these beautiful beaches and a really nice walking boulevard that you can walk around. And this is a really popular place for example, dog owners to walk around. And we didn't have any more snow than this, so this is a very small amount. However, this made a huge difference compared to having just darkness and a black rocks and black bushes and black everything. So this is really nice. And actually, talking about what's happening here, Yevgenia, this is actually filmed with just my iPhone this morning, so the phone cameras are actually pretty good nowadays. However, what happened here is that there is this spot here, right here, where they have a ladder into the ocean, and they actually have this Helsinki open sea swimming club, where people, the members of the club, go and swim in the ocean every single morning around the year, regardless of the weather and regardless of the whether or not we have ice in the sea, or whether or not the sea is frozen over. They will make a hole there, etc. So this is pretty crazy. I would not do this myself, but it's really cool that they have this kind of activity. So yeah, just this is lovely already, because we haven't had this much snow all year. So this really made my day, and unfortunately, all of this snow is already melted by now, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, a quick look into Finland this morning. Talking about this, we're actually going to Lapland with my girlfriend and with a couple of really good friends of ours for the New Year's. And I actually thought that I would film a couple of videos from Lapland. There's already a lot of snow there, and the predictions look really good for the New Year's, that there is going to be a lot of real snow. And I actually thought that I would do a live stream from Lapland as well, showing you around the Lapland scenery and the snow there. All right. Isaac also had a couple of other questions. I am concerned about the rain and darkness more than the cold itself. Can you describe how life is like in that season? I wonder if people function normally, or is it different than the behavior in the summer? Oh yeah, so definitely. So I already covered a couple of points about the rain and darkness. So those are rain and the moisture is actually what makes it cold and miserable. It's not the coldness itself. Darkness is actually something that you can compete against. So you need to get good artificial daylight lamps that actually have a lot of blue wavelengths to them. Normally, our in-house lights are pretty yellow, and when it's dark outside and you have yellow lights inside, it usually makes you a bit tired. So having more like daylight lamps and blue lights actually makes a huge difference in your energy levels, because it actually makes your brain think that it's day. And this is actually something that a lot of corporate offices use. They don't have these yellowish lights, but they have daylight ceiling lights. Then eating vitamin D is very important, especially if you come from a country where you have a lot of sun, because vitamin D is something that you get from the sun. And during winter, we actually eat vitamin D supplements here. It's really common. You can get them from any grocery store. Then I would say that go out as much as you can. Any day that it's sunny and lovely, it's going to lift your spirits so much. And just having, these small things, like, for example, this morning we had snow and a beautiful morning that just made my day completely. And it doesn't matter what else happens today, my day is already perfect. So during summer, the behavior, I don't think that's so much different. The biggest difference I see is that people just spend more time inside during the winter. During the summer, people love to go outside, in the evenings, have a drink, eat in restaurants outside. So that's the biggest difference. I visited in the summer and everyone was friendly, but I'm afraid in the winter, if there are more closed because of the darkness, and then I would feel lonely in that case. I don't think that's a big worry. I don't think so. Of course, this year and COVID being the case, that's completely different because we have to stay inside. But I don't think there's going to be that much of a difference. The biggest difference is going to be in the different activities you guys do, during the summer versus during the winter. So I would not be worried at all. It's something that you get used to. Anyways, the next question comes from Muhammad El Farouk Zohair. Muhammad El Farouk Zohair. I think I'm pretty close. Who comes from Morocco and has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland. And is saying, I'm studying in FSR in Rabat, and I'd like to apply to University of Helsinki. Awesome. Excellent choice. And Muhammad is specifically interested in biology. The University of Helsinki is absolutely the correct university for biology studies. The question is, hi Oliver, big thanks for your help. I would like to know how SATs work in Finland, especially in the Helsinki University. Sure. So I don't remember exactly how the University of Helsinki formulate this and how it functions, but as a general, Finnish universities don't arrange SATs themselves at all, and many universities are not willing to comment on SATs or any of the other aptitude tests at all, because they are not allowed to comment on almost anything there unless it is publicly already on their website. However, again, let me get back to the, whoopsie daisy, just a moment, sorry, excuse me, up. There. So let's actually check this out together. Excuse me. All right, so here we have all of the different master's degrees under the Faculty of Biological and Environmental Sciences. So ecology, evolutionary biology, environmental change and global sustainability, master's program in genetics and molecular biosciences, microbial and microbial biotechnology, neurosciences, integrated plant sciences, etc. So you can see there's multiple different master's programs under the. I just have to confirm that you were. Yeah, so I think you were looking for to do a master's. Just Mohammed, if you could just confirm that you were specifically looking for a master's, because these are all the programs. So, for example, if you look at the master's program in ecology and evolutionary biology, the application process. Nope. Nope. I'm just trying to check the. Nope. Still trying to find the application requirements. Yeah, masters. Okay, then I'm on the correct page. All right. Sorry. Okay, so the University of Helsinki doesn't have actually the information on the website. So what they require you to do is to come to the studyinfo.fi website, and we can then look for the master's program in ecology and evolutionary biology from this website. And we should get nope. Nope. That's weird. Anyhow, so this is where you should find nah. Oh, for Earth's sake. Let's see from here. There you go. Okay, cool. There was a direct link. So, by the way, guys, I know that this is taking a bit of time while I'm going through the individual questions and the answers. However, all of this information and the tips I'm giving here, these also apply to other master's and bachelor's programs as well. So just follow along, and then if you have a different program, just use the same information to look for information on your program. So for example here, application process, if you look at this sub-page, you have the admission to study program. You have completed or will complete a first cycle degree, so a bachelor's degree in a it has to be in a relevant field, so biology basically, so that you can apply, or specific hard sciences. It might depend on the school. And then right, so here it says applicants to the master program in ecology and evolutionary biology must have completed at least a first cycle degree, bachelor's degree in a field applicable to the master's program that provides sufficient qualifications for the completions of master's studies in the EEB master's program. Again, here's the kind of comparison. If you have a bachelor's in business and you want to do a master's in biology, you cannot apply from your bachelor's in business. You need to have like a bachelor's in biology or mathematics or physics or something that is applicable. And what is applicable depends on the university itself. So you always have to contact the university to make sure that your prior degree is actually makes you eligible to apply to the master's. Blah, blah, blah. Certificates of employment and statements, sure. Record attachments, educational documents, certified copies. Language proficiency, so you must have a language proficiency test done with specific tests, and a photocopy of your passport. Then you need a motivation letter. So yeah, so for example, you do not need an SAT. You don't need to do an SAT for the University of Helsinki master's programs, or at least not that master's programs. And in order to prove your proficiency in English, you need to prove it using. There you go. Oh, there's so many websites. There you go. All right. All right. Please note that statements issued by individual language teachers or institutional language test scores are not accepted, as they cannot be compared with standardized language tests. So IELTS or IELTS, TOEFL, C1 Advanced, PTE Academic, National Certificate, blah 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 blah, IB, European Baccalaureate. So all of these different ways that you can use to prove your proficiency in English. And again, do consider that these are specifically for the master's programs in University of Helsinki. For example, when you apply to do a bachelor's in English taught bachelor's degree at Aalto University, you actually need to do the SATs in order to prove your proficiency in English. The SATs are of course used for mathematics and written skills as well. However, you do not need to do separate like language proficiency tests. So always make sure to check the individual requirements from the university that you're applying to. Cool. All right. So I hope that answered your question. The next question comes from Jay, who comes from Sri Lanka and is applying to study in Finland in the next application period, and doesn't have a school, however, is interested in software engineering. And the question is there a difference in visa when we study a 1-year master's program compared to a 2-year program? For example, will I get a job seeker? Will I get a residence permit for looking for a job after 1 year of master's? After I have completed a 1-year master's program. In Sweden, if the student visa is less than 1 year, they don't give some social benefits, as far as I know. That is a really good question. My understanding is that it is not the extended residence permit to look for work is not dependent on the length of your degree. However, it is dependent on you actually graduating from a school in Finland. So what he's talking about is, so you have a residence permit for studying in Finland. This is again the Finnish Immigration Service website. And here you have an extended permit to look for work. So apply for a residence permit with this application if you need an extended permit to look for work or start a business and you do not yet have a job. So basically, you have to apply for an extended permit before you actually graduate from your school. So requirements: you have a valid residence permit for studies or for scientific research. You have studied and completed a degree in Finland, or you have either finished your research work or completed a doctoral degree in Finland after finishing your research work. You have not yet found a job that would begin before your residence permit expires. So basically this means that, at least this doesn't mention any kind of year limit on years, again, because the master's degree, the length of your master's degree depends on what master's program you are doing. For example, there are some international collaborative master's programs where you do like 1 year in Denmark and 1 year in Finland, and then you basically graduate from a Finnish university. And that would mean that you only do 1 year of master's studies in Finland. However, you still count as a master's graduate in Finland. So this is why you should be able to apply for a normal extended permit to look for work, regardless of the amount of years that you have studied in your masters, as long as you graduate. That's the one requirement. As I've understood it, again, please confirm everything that I say about the residence permits from the Finnish Immigration Service directly, just to make sure. All right, the next question comes from Josh from the US&A. Awesome to have you here as well, Josh. Welcome to the live stream. I'm not sure, I actually don't remember you being in the live streams before. So welcome. If you have not yet, please do consider subscribing to the channel. And if you guys are actually getting value out of this live stream, which has already gone for 2.5 hours, do give it a thumbs up and maybe consider joining as a member to the channel. If you click the join button below the video, it's either on this side or this side, I don't remember. You can see what kind of benefits and perks you get from being a member. For example, Yevgenia, who is very active in the chat, you can see that Yevgenia has a YouTube channel members badge, meaning that when Yevgenia puts out comments into the chat, her name basically is more visible, and I'm able to answer her comments and questions a bit more regularly than everyone else's. So there's a lot of benefits and perks of actually being a channel member. So I would really appreciate if you could consider pitching in. That will also help me create more valuable and consistent content for you guys also in the future. Anyways, Josh is saying that he's coming to Finland for work, and the question is, how long are polar nights in Finland? That's a very good question. That's a really interesting question, actually. So polar nights, if you guys do not know, polar night is again, let's move this out of the way. So if we just use Wikipedia as our source, the polar night occurs in the northernmost and southernmost regions of the Earth. So northernmost parts of Finland, basically. When the night lasts for more than 24 hours. This occurs only inside the polar circle. That's correct. The opposite phenomenon, the polar day or midnight sun, occurs when the sun stays above the horizon for more than 24 hours. Right. So this is actually... so polar night is basically a phenomena where the sun does not go below the horizon at all, and it's basically dark all the time. Well, it's not completely dark, but in Lapland, basically you have the pitch black darkness of the night, and then during the day, because the sun doesn't come above the horizon, but it's just below it, you get this really mystical, awesome blue tone that is really, really cool looking. So I can actually try to show you a couple of pictures. Yeah, you get this really cool blue colors, this awesome midnight blues that you don't see anywhere in the world. It's really, really awesome, and you can actually see it if you, for example, visit Lapland in the winter, and it's just an experience. It's pretty darn awesome. This is actually also a really good picture of the polar night day when you have these bluish tones and you don't see the sun at all during the day. Yeah, homicidal chimpanzee. Yeah, if you look at Finland on the map, you can see that we're pretty far up north. So we do have polar nights, and the polar circle. Let's see if I can actually. So I'm sorry. Whoops. Let's see if Google Maps actually shows you the. Nope. Never mind. Yeah, so you can actually see here that the Arctic Circle goes just above this kind of waistline of the Finnish lady that we call the Suomineito, which is what we call the form of Finland, because it looks like a lady. So the Arctic Circle goes just above the hip. So basically right here. And Lapland basically starts from a bit above Arctic Circle, so officially. So around this area, you get polar nights where you don't see daylight or the sun during a specific time of year at all. And let's just check the exact dates for you guys. Darkness will now reign in the polar circle for 52 days, with the next sunrise not until January 18th, 2020. So this is from Yle, the government, the Finnish newspaper. So this is from 25th of November last year. So the polar night starts in late November and ends in January. So Nuorgam is one of the northernmost towns in Finland, and you have 52 days without a sunrise at all. So that is kind of cool. The further south you come, the shorter the day polar night is, and then when you go below the the Arctic Circle, you don't have a polar night at all. Yeah, Orange Machine saying, a friend of mine said Finland is shaped like a woman, and now I can't unsee it. Yeah. Yeah. Homicidal chimpanzee, correct. It only occurs in the north. That's correct. And again, between November and January. So if you want to see the polar night, then you have to go between that period. Christmas time is an excellent time to be there. That's also a very good point, actually. If you want to see the northern lights in Finland, the polar night is the best time of year to see it, because you have the longest amount of darkness, and you usually have the coldest nights, especially like in January, early January, and in February when it's the coldest. You have the least amount of cloud cover, and that's why you have the highest probability of seeing the brain freeze, the aurora borealis, northern lights. Mohammed saying that I saw northern lights in Lahti 3 weeks ago. That's pretty darn cool. I've seen northern lights in my lifetime 5 times, and I've been to Lapland every single year since I was a kid, at least for a week. So they're really, really rare. Yevgenia saying, I wonder now whether Australia and the Antarctica have polar nights. I actually don't think so. I don't. No, actually, yeah, it does happen. Yeah, in the southernmost regions of the Earth. Yeah, true. That is true. But then I would guess that happens in the opposite time of year to Finland. Anyhow, let's move further. Actually, by the way, guys, there's not that many questions in the forum anymore. So if you have any questions that you would like me to answer, do please post them in the Google form that I have linked in the description box below. If you guys don't post a couple of more comments there pretty quickly, I think I will start ending the stream once I have answered all the questions that we have there currently. If you want to ask me more questions, I would love to continue the stream for a while. But if not, then we will just answer the questions that we have there and then start ending the stream for today. Anyhow, the next question comes from Chimp. So homicidal chimpanzee, and the question is, I've been looking for universities in Finland that teach bachelors in English, and most of them require for an entrance exam to be admitted. What are they, and are they similar to SAT tests? So so you most likely have been looking at universities of applied sciences, which a lot of them have entrance exams. So again, remember the differences between universities and universities of applied sciences. Excuse me. So universities are more research and academia based, while universities of applied sciences are more practical. They're like the vocational schools for universities. And many of these universities of applied sciences have an entrance exam, some kind of an custom-made aptitude test for that field, specifically built for a specific degree program. However, Finnish universities don't have entrance exams, at least most of them, for bachelor's degrees taught in English. For example, Aalto University does not have an entrance exam for bachelor's degrees unless you apply to do a degree in arts and design. Then you do have a hands-on arts and design application kind of assignment or entrance exam. However, the Aalto University School of Business does not have. You have to do the SATs. And about the question, are these kind of UAS University of Applied Sciences entrance exams like the SATs. No, they're not standardized, but rather they are custom made for those degree programs. So they measure specific things. For example, if you are applying to the healthcare sector, they test certain psychological things there. If you apply to become a something else, then they test something else. So it depends on the field. And those tests change every single year. Yevgeny asking, what do Finnish people like to eat? What are the national dishes in Finland? That's a really interesting question. I think the most cliche dishes that come into mind are like salmon soup or salmon in general. We love salmon. Reindeer is something that we do eat in Finland, but only during the winter, and it's not that it's not that common. It's more of like a delicacy. We don't eat it even semi-regularly. A lot of people like to eat reindeer, for example, in the New Year's or around Christmas time. So basically eating eating all Santa's reindeers. That's not nice. Anyways, so during summer we eat a lot of fish and potatoes, for example. In terms of like desserts, we like to eat eat a huge amount of ice cream. And during summers, we usually eat berries with ice cream. That's something that people love. What else? That's actually a good question. Finnish dishes. That's actually funny because I don't eat that much like Finnish dishes at home. We usually try to make different stuff. But yeah, we eat a lot of potatoes. A lot of people actually eat porridge for breakfast. For breakfast, especially when you're a kid, and we do eat a lot of meat, especially game in Finland as well. And then anything that you can get from the forest, like berries, mushrooms, what else? This kind of stuff. And we do eat a lot of bread, different kind of bread. Rye bread is very popular in Finland, and it's actually one of the more healthy bread variables that you variants that you can get, and it's really, really good. And the thing is that rye doesn't grow in that many parts of the world. It's mostly grown in the north, so you don't actually get that much rye in, for example, Central Europe. So rye bread is definitely something that you should try here. Yeah, Orange Machine is saying that pyttipannu. Pyttipannu is a type of how do I say? It's a mix of potato, meat, sausages, egg, and it's a really cool kind of a scrambled eggs with sausages, or a piece of sausages and potato that is fried. And then we have Karjalan piirakka, which is like I think it was Anthony Bourdain who said that it looks like the women's private parts. Yeah, I don't think there's any more polite way of putting this. But Karjalan piirakka is like a pastry that we have in Finland that is actually really good, but for many people it looks a bit funny. I do love them myself, but I think those are a lot of really, really good things that we have here. Yeah, I think those are salmon soup is really popular. All right, the next question. Oh, by the way, guys, you basically came through. There's a bunch of new questions in the form, so I do appreciate it. We will continue the stream until we almost run out of questions. So, next question comes from Ali Reza, who comes from Iran, and has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in electrical engineering. Cool, that is very nice. And the question is, what documents do Finnish companies ask when you apply for a residence permit? And how long does it take for a residence permit? And are there any language certificates? So Okay, so if you're all right, okay, so let's go a bit backwards. Ali Reza, if you could please elaborate a bit on the question in the chat. Could you please just confirm uh, whether you're intending on coming to study in Finland and you're asking about the residence permit specifically as a student, or about the residence permits as if you just apply for work in Finland? Those are two different things. So I really cannot answer the question before you give me the details. So I will jump ahead. Please let me know in the chat whether or not you mean that you will be coming to study here or work, and then I will be able to answer your question. But while waiting, I'm jumping to the next question, and which is from Isaac. Isaac, and actually, Isaac, could you please let me know how do I pronounce your name specifically, especially since you're from France? Is it Isaac, in English, or is it Isaac or Isaac, or I'm not completely sure. Anyhow, the question is, you said that there are not that many Finnish and international bachelors in English. So what is the best way to befriend them then? I don't want to stay with internationals only. That's a good point, because then you don't really experience everything. That's very true. It would be like a long vacation as opposed to being integrated into the culture. Super good point, and I totally agree. I think this is a very good idea for you to keep in mind, everyone. If you when you come and do a degree in Finland, don't just hang out with other international students. Try to get to know Finnish people as well. Ali Reza, I will get back to your question. Thanks for the details. I will get back to your question after this one, and I will give you the answer. So really good point. So my recommendation is that from the day one, start hanging out with different student organizations and communities. And of course, this year has been an exception because of COVID, and we haven't had any like events or student activities. But next year, if we get rid of COVID, I really recommend that from day one, start looking for different student clubs and that you're interested in, and try to just jump along and become an active member and get to know people that way. Finnish students are extremely active in different student organizations. Doesn't matter if it's sports or academics or career related or whatever. There's 1,000 different student organizations just within Aalto, from shooting to writing to investing to ballet to reading to chess. So and unfortunately, still the current situation is that most people in those student organizations are Finns. However, this is a really good option, chance for you to get to know them, because if you jump on board and become a member and start actively participating in these, for example, events and meetings and so on, that's the best way to get to know Finns, especially people who like same things that you do. So I think this is the best way to do it, absolutely. The second way is that when you come to study at Aalto, you will have a personal tutor who is going to be helping you with the like integration and moving stuff, moving to Finland, especially during the first weeks and months. Ask him or her if you could hang out with them, some evening, or come have a beer with them and their friends, and if they could, for example, recommend where to get to know Finnish people. So I think this is a really good way to do it as well. So just be as proactive as possible. The problem with us Finns is that we are not that proactive towards international students. It's not that we are afraid of you or something like this. It's simply that we are not the barrier for us to come and get to know you guys proactively is a bit higher. But if you guys want to get to know us, we're totally open for that, and you just need to be very proactive and basically look for us through these different student activities. Also, I was wondering, if you get a room in a shared apartment at HOAS, do they put you among internationals, or can you end up with Finns? How many people are in one flat? So the amount of people depends on the flat and the type of apartment. So shared apartments go from 2 people to 5 people, I think. For example, one of the excuse me, one of the student apartment tours that I have on my website, on my channel, I think it was for 4 people. But the largest ones I've seen have 4 or 5. I don't think there is a restriction on just having internationals in the same apartment, unless it is specifically this kind of an exchange student apartment. In that case, you would be just internationals. But if it's just a shared apartment, it's highly likely that you're going to have Finnish students there as well. The only restriction is that all student apartments in Finland are single sex, so that they're going to be only men or women. So we don't have mixed student apartments unless it's a family apartment. Yeah, cool. I hope that answered your question. Yevgenia saying that I love rye bread. Well, then you're going to do brilliantly in Finland because we have a lot of rye. Denny saying that I'm now eating potato. Are you eating just a single potato? That's a bit weird. Do you have something else with the potato as well? Also, Denny's saying that a cool watch, by the way. So I guess, again, thank you for the reminder. This is a great time to give a plug. So once again, these live streams are partly co-sponsored by Arni. And this is an Arni watch. Again, Arni, if you haven't heard already now, probably have if you've been following the live streams. Arni is a Finnish company designing and manufacturing wooden watches, sunglasses, and other accessories. And I actually know the founders of Arni from school. They're actually from my classmates. And I really love what they've done with their brand. These beautiful wooden watches, they actually use Finnish wood in the watches. And the one that I have on currently, I really love this one. This is their Arni XO Elm model. And it's made out of Finnish elm tree. And I really personally love just the combination of the white, like pearl white dial and the dark grain of the elm. Plus the size of this is perfect for my wrist because I have pretty hefty wrists. So this is just the right size for me. For example, this one with the navy blue dial is a bit small for me, but it's still really cool. And guys, if you... Yevgenia saying that the Arni wallets are also awesome. They have really, really cool wallets as well, made out of Finnish leather. And if you guys want to help out with the channel, and if you also want to get yourself a piece of Finnish nature, you can actually get yourself a Arni watch, wallet, or sunglasses with a 10% discount. And I actually have a discount code in the description box below. If you want to use it, you will get a discount. I will get a small cut of the sale, and everyone will be happy, and you will be supporting the channel, which I would appreciate a huge amount. Dennis, once again, thank you very much for reminding me on trying to make a living for myself. Cool. Yevgenia asking, what are the volunteering possibilities in Finland? Oh, how many hours do you have? This is going to be a long discussion. I cannot go too deep into this. You can do anything. So basically, if we're just talking about student organizations and volunteering in them, there's everything that you can imagine from, for example, if you look at again, if we just jump into the screen share, just a second. Actually, here's a good example. If you have not yet made a LinkedIn account, I really recommend that you guys go check out my LinkedIn. I actually did a bit of LinkedIn coaching while I was working at this recruitment company. And if you want to build your LinkedIn account based on what I have here, go ahead and basically copy paste the format that I use. Anyhow, so for example, for me, my volunteer experience during the university, if we start from the beginning, I was a tutor for new students during 1 year, so that was really a lot of fun. It's fun because you basically get to live your first year student orientation experience once again, and they have the best parties, and it's a lot of fun to do that. Then I was a student member for benefits. I'm a student members benefit coordinator for our Aalto University Business Student Organization. So basically, we have a list of different businesses that give us discounts specifically for business students, and I was in charge of negotiating those discounts. So basically, doing kind of like low end sales. So I walked into different cool restaurants, cafes, clothing stores that sell like really nice suits, and I told them that I'm a member of our business student community. We would like to have a discount for our members because for example, the suits are a bit expensive for 20-something-year-olds, but we would love to give you business because people use those discounts and then shop around. And that was a volunteer job. Then I was a member for multiple years in our Aalto University aviation club, aka skydiving club, so called Kymppi. And I was there for a member a couple of years, and then I chaired the club for a couple of years as well. And basically what we did is that most of the year we organized parties and really cool events, and then twice a year we actually organized skydiving courses for other students. So university students in Helsinki had the opportunity to actually get themselves a skydiving license, and or jump a tandem jump, skydiving jump where you have an instructor strapped into you. And I never got my license, but I've jumped. I've done a skydiving jump 3 times, twice in a tandem, and then once independently, this free fall skydiving jump. Then I actually was a co-founder of a student club called Adventure, which was focusing on adventure sports like multisports, ultra runs. We did a lot of kayaking, climbing, bouldering, hiking, cycling, and this kind of stuff. And I was a member of board and head of communications there, so I ran our social media. Then our Aalto University Business Students organization, the logo here, called KY. We actually rebranded the entire organization. It's over 100 years old, and the brand was a bit oldish. So I was a part of the rebranding task force. So we basically did this entire rebranding process that took over a year, and it really taught me a lot of really nice practical skills of brand work and strategy and this kind of stuff. Again, all of this is volunteer stuff, but it's a lot of fun working on really cool projects with a really bunch of really cool. It's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun because it's basically working on really cool projects that you would not be able to work on otherwise, like arranging skydiving courses with a bunch of really cool dudes and gals. So a lot of really cool friends that I made. And then my last volunteer experience, I've now retired from volunteering in student organizations. I was a member of the representative council at our student organization for 2 consecutive terms, so which is 2 years in a row, so basically 4 years. I have to update this, by the way. And the representative council is the highest deciding body, the supervising body of our organization, and we basically make sure that the board of directors manage the annual budget, which is in the hundreds of thousands of euros for a student organization. And then we also make sure that the organization's funds, which are counted in the tens of millions, are actually well managed. So it's a lot of responsibility for someone who has not a degree. We're all students. And so we learned a lot of really cool things about board work, what it's like working in a company board, basically how are our official board meetings run, how does voting happen in different boards and companies, for example, strategy and budgeting. We were basically deciding over established permanent positions, so we basically hired the board members for the following years. So all of these skills that I've learned in these volunteering works are all transferable directly into work life. So that is why I really recommend that you guys look for different volunteer jobs during your studies and try to participate as much as possible. Right, Denny saying that I was eating fried potatoes with toast. Gotcha, that explains a bit more. Just having like a raw potato, single potato would have been a bit creepy, I guess. Cool. Yevgeny asking a really good question. What attitude does the Finnish Finnish healthcare system have towards the mental health, and how is it taken care of in Finland? Really well. Considering that we do have maybe a bit too much mental health problems in Finland, not having to do with the darkness, we have a very, very robust system for mental health care in Finland. And again, if you're able to use the public healthcare services, that is done either through that, or you can also use the student healthcare services via the FSHS during your studies, and they do, for example, have psychiatrists at your disposal. In addition, if as a student, if you have any psychological problems, or if you have any motivational problems because of school, each school, university in Finland also has study coordinators as well as study psychologists that you can arrange a meeting with for free, and they're there to help you. And in addition, they also have, let's say, although you know, let's see, I have to check what the term is. So basically, universities also have. I would not say, I don't think the correct term is like pastor, but like spiritual people who will can help you through struggles if you're, for example, a member of the church. So if that is something that you're into, then that's also possible. Yeah, a skydiving license it's one of my bucket lists. I actually want to get it one day. It's pretty expensive, so I haven't done it yet. All right. Next question comes from Yash from India, who is starting school this semester in Metropolia in civil engineering. And the question is, what is my review of Metropolia University of Applied Sciences in Helsinki? Metropolia is one of the better universities of applied sciences in Finland. Of course, the education system there is a bit different from universities like Aalto University, because it's more practical. In addition, you don't have as much personal freedom in building your own curriculum compared to university degrees, because universities of applied sciences have a bit more structure to them. My girlfriend actually is doing two different degrees. She has a is working on her business degree in Aalto University, but she also is working on a bachelor's in occupational therapy from Metropolia. And in general, she has been happy. She has had some complaints about the educational style of education in Metropolia, because she has gotten used to the kind of the personal freedom that you get in university level. But on top of that, she didn't really have that many complaints. The cool thing is that Metropolia has a brand new campus in Helsinki, which is apparently really, really nice. Of course, after COVID, you're going to get access to the campus once again. Yeah, Metropolia is a really good university of applied sciences. It's really well known in Finland, and if you want to get a UAS degree that is like well known, then that is a very good choice, I would say. Cool. Moving on. The next question from Yas. I'm sorry, that I already got. The next question comes from Shannon. Awesome to have Shannon, you as well on the stream. Welcome. I would. What's the time actually in the US currently, depending on your city? Shannon, if you would like to share, where are you watching the stream from? Which state, and what is the current time there at this moment? Anyhow, Shannon has not yet decided whether or not she wants to study in Finland, but she graduated in 24, cool, in marketing and communications. And the question is, I have a degree in communications, but haven't worked in marketing for 10 years. All right. So I would like to apply for a master's in marketing. Cool. Most programs seems to require a degree in marketing and how strict do you think that is? What would experience balance be required? What would experience balance? I'm sorry. Would work experience balance the requirement? I'm starting to get a bit tired. Yeah, good question. So you have a degree in communication, so that should be eligible. That should most likely make you eligible to apply for a program in marketing. They're basically the same thing, to be honest. Marketing is such a massive, overall term slash field. I would, all right, Shannon, what I recommend you to do is to contact, first of all, I recommend that you apply to Aalto University, simply because it's the highest ranking business university in Finland, or business school. And especially considering that you have 10 years of work experience, even though it's not from the same field, that should not matter. I think that you should have pretty good chances of actually getting in, depending on what kind of grades you have from your undergrad, right? So Aalto is the best business school in Finland. Definitely apply there. I've basically done my master's in marketing or communication. The official title for my master's degree is entrepreneurship and innovation management, but I basically did my courses mostly in sustainable business and strategy strategy management and then communication or marketing. So it's a bit of a mix, and I was really, really happy with it. And it's the cool thing is that you can basically build your own curriculum there, especially on master's level, really freely, depending on which exact master's degree program you apply to. So yeah. Anyways, what I recommend you to do is to contact all the university admission services. So Shannon, if you want to write this down for yourself. So contact them with admissions@aalto.fi. So admissions is that's plural, and then aalto.fi, and then ask them whether or not your degree would make you eligible to apply for a master's in marketing. Also, do keep in mind, again, if I go into the screen share for a moment. So if you look at the different master's programs that Aalto University has, just under business, actually, whoops, this is the wrong. Let's see the correct webs. There you go. There you go. All right. So if you look at the different master's programs that Aalto University has, there's a bunch of them. So accounting, creative sustainability, economics, finance, global management, information service management, design business, management in international business, and marketing. So even though you have your bachelor's in communication, it might be that it also makes you eligible to apply to other some of the other programs as well. For example, in management and international business. I don't know for 100% sure, but I would recommend you to find out by reaching out to Aalto directly. Highly likely that it does not make you eligible to apply for economics and finance, because these are hard programs in like hard science programs. However, these are a bit more laxed and more flexible in a sense. So reach out to Aalto and ask them about the required degree to apply for the marketing master's in marketing. And your question about would work experience balance the requirements? No, it will not balance out the requirements. So the requirements themselves are pretty strict in Finland. However, having a lot of work experience will definitely be a positive in your application. It will absolutely help you with the application, especially when considering differentiating yourself from the other applicants. How much, I don't know, because I don't have any personal experience on processing applications to universities. and the universities don't publicize the information on how what the weights are for different parts of the application or the different requirements. So keep this in mind. But however, they do note on their website that prior work experience, and for example, they want your CV. That prior work experience is going to impact your chances. Plus, for example, they ask you for your CV. So Topo, you're sure you could definitely watch the entire stream tomorrow in replay. This is going to be a pretty darn long replay, so you could always start from the start and then end wherever you left off today. So definitely cool. All right, Shannon, I hope that helped you with the question. The next question comes from Jorge. Jorge from Portugal, and who has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in Aalto University. And the questions are: is it easy to find a job with ISM Masters from Aalto? So that's the Aalto University Information and Service Management program. So is it easy to find a job as an ISM Masters from Aalto in Finland as an international student? Yeah, well, it's depend. Okay, it always depends on you personally, and I cannot say yes or no. It's what I can say, that finding a job as a student and as a recent graduate in Finland, regardless of whether or not you're a Finnish national, is difficult. However, the when you get your first kind of real job in your field, it starts getting easier and easier because the kind of the positive impact of your job experience is going to snowball, and the easier it gets, the further you get in your career. The most difficult thing is to find the first real job in your field. The master's degree that you do does not really matter. So, for example, whether or not it's ISM or economics or okay, scratch that. So whether or not you do a master's in ISM, it will not necessarily impact you that much, because you could do your master's in management or marketing or international business. It doesn't matter that much depending on the field. However, what matters really a lot is your personal ability to do the groundwork for your job search when the job hunting season is on. So what I recommend you to do, and this is a recommendation for every single one of you guys, especially since you guys are the ones who hang out here the longest, so you're most likely the most interested, the people who are most interested in learning about these things. So I will share the screen once again. Please go to my channel, and you can see this a bit badly, but if you go just to the channel front page, go all the way down, I have a new playlist of called Interviews with Recruitment Experts. I started this video playlist last week, and the idea is for me to interview highly experienced recruiters and HR managers, hiring managers, headhunters from Finland, who give their perspective and share their experience in about job hunting and recruitment in terms of international talents in Finland. This first interview that I had with Saku Tihveräinen, who is a very experienced HR professional in Finland, was extremely important for you to go through. And Saku spoke a lot about the importance of networks and networking in Finland. So it doesn't matter even if you have a doctoral degree in Finland. If you don't network enough, you will not. It will be extremely difficult for you to find a job. So you can have 2 doctorates, 5 masters, and you might still end up being unemployed if you don't know how to apply for jobs. And one of the most important things is to actually start networking the second that you are arrived to Finland, and start networking professionally and building professional networks as well as like personal networks as well. And this will come super handy when you apply for work. And again, it doesn't matter what necessarily the degree is. If you graduated from Aalto School of Business, in general, your statistically you will have excellent career prospects, and the employment numbers for business graduates from Aalto are extremely high nationally. However, please start following this series that I made. I interviewed my old colleague this Tuesday, and I will have that video out next week. And then I interviewed another extremely experienced HR professional today, and that video is coming up in 2 weeks. And these are pretty long interviews, but they give you so many practical tips and really good information on career development and job hunting in Finland. So highly, highly, highly recommended. Great. All right. So there were a couple of other questions from Jorge as well. Regarding this previous question, and the first one is, what kind of jobs are there for ISM masters? Impossible to say. You can basically work in so many different fields. If you do information service management, you can work as a consultant, you can work as a sales guy, you can work as anything basically. So there's so many different career paths for you to do. Again, I have a master's in entrepreneurship and innovation management, and I'm a YouTuber. And then on the other hand, I have a technology startup that I'm a CEO of and a founder of. And before I did marketing at a recruitment company. Has nothing to do with what I studied. So don't think about your degree as in a vacuum. Think about what you're interested in, and then start building your curriculum and your course selection based on what type of things you're interested in. Of course, if you study finance or economics, then the path is a bit more straightforward, because if you want to become a banker, then you need a degree in finance or economics. But for example, for you, it's the doors are open for anything that you want to do. The question: does the ISM master do ISM graduates have more better employment numbers than masters in economics from Aalto? Again, no idea. Probably not. Again, overall, Aalto University master's graduates from the School of Business, I have really good employment numbers. Again, let me share this so that I don't have to explain it. All the business employment numbers. Let's see. Right here, School of Business graduates in working life. This is Aalto University specifically. And this does not take into account what the degree is. This just talks about business graduates in general. 97% of the School of Business graduates are satisfied with their degree in terms of employment, regardless of the specific program. Of our students, so Aalto University master's graduates from business, 83% found employment before graduation. So 83% of business graduates from Aalto University already have a job before they graduate from the school. 98% of the graduates were employed after 1 year after graduation. This is one of the highest numbers in the entire country, regardless of the field. So if you graduate from the University of Aalto University School of Business, regardless of your degree program, you will have excellent career prospects. However, it's always dependent on you personally and your ability to actually apply for work, know where to apply from, and just ability to utilize the information that there is on the web. For example, the channel. Check out the interviews. They will give you so much information. So, again. And then I know I want to do a bachelor's in economics, but after that, I don't know if I want to do economics master's in economics or in ISM. Doesn't matter. So if you do a bachelor's in economics, you can then move on to do your master's in another topic inside of the business school. However, if the discussion here is that in order for you to do a master's in a specific subject, you need to have a bachelor's degree that makes you eligible to apply for that or do that master's. So it's a bit different in the School of Business. It's not that strict. However, if you, for example, want to do master's in finance in your master's and you do a bachelor's in economics, in order for you to do a master's in finance, you have to you have to do your minor in your bachelor's in finance. That is the limit or that's the requirement that you have to fulfill in order to do a master's in finance, and vice versa. Cool. Jumping to the next question, which is from Carlos from Spain, and who is already studying in Finland. And the question is, sorry for the off-topic question, but what year did I graduate from high school? I actually graduated from high school in 2011. So I went to high school 2009, did 9, 10, 11, and I graduated in late spring 2011. Then I went to do my military service between... No, wait, sorry. Actually, no, sorry. I graduated from high school in 2010, and then I applied to Aalto University School of Business once. I didn't get in. And then I did my mandatory military service for a year. So that was January 2011 until January 2012. And then I studied for the Aalto University entrance exams, again, which do not consider you guys. It's only for Finnish nationals. I studied for those entrance exams for 5 months. And then I had a free summer. And then I got admitted, and then I started studying at Aalto University in September 2012. So that's kind of the timeline. All right, the next question comes from Jorge. And the question is, some people say that the rye bread from the north is different than the one that is found in Helsinki from brands like Fazer, etc. at the supermarket. Is it true? Yes and no. So you have to take into account that Finland has, in terms of like this, something that is a bit different from about Finland in terms of like food and groceries is that in Finland we have a few really big chains, like grocery chains that manage most of the market. So, for example, if you think about like food and like, for example, bread and meat. Bread is a really good example in like Central Europe. It's more common that you have these small bread bakeries and bread shops where they actually bake the bread themselves. We don't really have that in Finland, which is really unfortunate. So we get actually our bread from these really big food manufacturer or companies. And why this is relevant to your question is that you basically have the same brands and the same foods available across the all around the country. However, of course, there are going to be local variants for different products. For example, rye bread in Helsinki and in Oulu and in Vaasa and across the country. So, sure, yeah. But if you like compare the same product, the exact same product in Helsinki and in Oulu, no, that's not going to be different. It's going to be the exact same recipe. However, there might be some variants that have like something local put into them. Meyerovic asking, are campuses open at this moment? No, they are not. Campuses in Finland are still closed, unfortunately. Actually, today we got some new restrictions in the southernmost, in south of Finland, because the COVID situation has gotten a bit worse from previous times. Topoyo saying, I have one question though. Is it possible to study for both the master's and maybe get into a bachelor's degree program? No, you have to apply for one or the other. You can apply for different programs, you know, you can apply for multiple programs each year. However, you have to keep in mind that you can only accept one study place at one time. So you basically have to do either master's or bachelor's at a time. All right. Cool. All right. So next question comes from Isaac. So actually the English pronunciation is Zach. So Isaac. Cool. Merci. And the comment is, thanks for your answers. You're most welcome. I really hope that you got some value out of it. The question is, do you know what is the average age of Finnish students that start a bachelor's, and also the average age for Finnish master students? Yeah, that's actually a good question. So usually this depends on whether you're woman, whether you're a man or a woman, because yeah, men have to do a mandatory military service after high school when we're 18, 19 or so. So there's a bit of an age gap there. But yeah, usually people start university when we're 20. 20, 21, 19, depending on whether or not you were a bit slow with high school or a bit faster, maybe whether you did your military service, or some people actually take a year off after high school and travel, and then they come to study. Also take into account that since we have an entrance exam in Finnish degree programs, and the admission rate is quite low. Some people actually apply to universities multiple years before they get in. So some people might be a bit older when they start their school because of that. But I would say that the kind of median age is somewhere around 2021 for bachelor's. And for master's, so if you think about it, bachelor's degree takes 3 years on average. So then the average for like first year master's would be 23, 24. I'd say, yeah. And yeah, I heard that the Finnish people have to do a military service before school. Yeah, so Finland is one of the only countries in Europe that still has a mandatory conscription service, basically a mandatory military service for men that you have to do when you turn 18. And this is for historical reasons. I don't want to go too deep into it. So we have a small professional defense force, but the bulk of the military comes from the conscripts. And the military service is either half a year or 1 year long. I did 1 year because if you go to an officer school, you have to do 1 year. And I actually enjoyed it. I actually thought it was quite a lot of fun because you get to do a lot of stuff that you would never be able to do in your civilian life, like blow stuff up and shoot with bazookas and throw grenades and this kind of stuff. And plus in Finland, in the Finnish military, we actually don't have, if you, for example, look at like documentaries about the American military where the drill instructors are yelling in your face and like shouting like crazy people. We don't have that in Finland at all. Actually, hazing in Finnish military is against the law, and you can get really, really heavy sanctions and even jail time for really bad hazing if you do that. In addition, you have to take into account that, for example, comparing like the military in the US, without going too political, the United States has a professional military, and a lot of the people who join the military there don't necessarily have more than a high school degree, and they become professional soldiers. In Finland, it's a conscript system, so we do military either after vocational school or high school, and of course we're young then. But then, if you think about like wartime or crisis time, after we do our military service, we every now and then we are invited to come back for a week or so to do like prepping and retraining. However, if it were to go at some point into a crisis situation where we actually have to call in the conscripts, basically 90% of our military is highly educated. 90% of our military is basically either university educated or has a vocational education. So I would say that, like, in terms comparing like the different militaries and defense forces across the world, the Finnish defense force is actually one of the most capable, simply because every single soldier in the army is highly educated compared to some other universities, some other countries, like, for example, the United States, where many people have only a high school diploma. So this is actually something that came up in discussion on YouTube a couple of weeks ago. And actually, the Finnish Defense Force official YouTube channel had to go and correct some comments that United States a U.S. military personnel who has a YouTube channel made comments about the Finnish military force, and the Finnish Defense Force actually had to go and correct some of the assumptions because they were so incorrect, which is kind of fun. All right. Yeah, shooting bazookas or RPGs, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, it's funny because in America, yeah, people are done with college by 21. That's a good point, and this is actually one of the reasons why Finland globally is actually the World Economic Forum ranks Finnish university graduates as the third highest, or the skill sets of Finnish university graduates as the highest, third highest in the entire world, and this is partly because it is so common for us to do a master's degree, which means that you first do 3 years of bachelor's and then you do 2 years of master's, compared to doing just a college, which might be 3 years in the US. So in terms of like the years of education that we have in general in Finland is much higher, and the unfortunately, I'm sorry if I'm going to offend someone, but the level of education here is just so much higher in general. Uh, Actually, Rico has a really good question. Sorry, I didn't notice that before. Um, so, so, brah, here is a legit question nobody has asked yet. How is the dating marketplace there for a guy as a student? What about Finnish girls? Any inputs to consider for a Latino fella? That's a really good question. Actually, I have a colleague who is Mexican and has a beautiful Finnish girlfriend, and they're actually getting a kid. And so I guess the market for Latinos are pretty good. So, but talking about it, actually, this is a topic that I haven't planned on covering on the channel because it doesn't really fit on like my niche. However, if you want to get tips on dating in Finland, specifically Finnish girls or women, Aleksi again has really good videos about dating in Finland, the do's, the don'ts, and the kind of the best practices so that you don't mess up immediately. So go and check out these. You can see that these are pretty popular, 200k views, 19k, 12k, 50k views. So yeah, go ahead and check those out. I really recommend it. The next one comes from Denise, and the question is, I'm thinking of studying teaching now, and it takes 5 years. The question I'm going to ask, is there anything that will speed up my learning in Finnish in these 5 years? Can I learn the cup well enough to be a teacher in these 5 years if I study hard? By the way, I always choose the option. I haven't decided whether or not to study in Finland, but I actually want to study in Finland. Right. After 2 years, my high school ends. It would be nice if you add such an option. That's actually really good feedback. Thanks. I will definitely do that. I haven't actually thought of that. Very good point. So Dennis, actually, just confirm this. Are you just talking? Are you talking about learning the Finnish language or doing your degree in teaching? Which one? Because my answer depends quite a bit based on the question. Just let me know in the chat and I'll jump back into your question. Before that, I will answer Shannon's next question, which is, actually a comment is, I'm in New York, it's 2:30 p.m. Cool. Right. So the Finnish language. Sure, there's a bunch of different ways that you can speed up your Finnish language learning. Absolute number one is, this actually applies to everyone. When you actually start your studies in the university or University of Applied Sciences, take as many Finnish language courses that you're capable as you can fit in your degree. Reasons: number one, they're free, or they're free of charge. Of course, if you have to pay tuition, then you have to pay tuition, but they are included in your degree as free of charge. Second, you have the highest level of Finnish language education that you can get anywhere because the teachers in universities are excellent. Third, you will have a bunch of other international students who are in the same situation as you, so you have a bunch of people that you can lean on when you're learning Finnish. Then four, you can actually count the degrees that you can actually count the credits that you get from those courses towards your degree. So it's win-win-win-win basically. Second tip is to start talking Finnish with your Finnish friends. Just tell them that you want to learn Finnish, and you know that it's going to be awkward, but ask them to start teaching you Finnish, because the best way to learn how to speak Finnish is by simply talking. reading the grammar and studying the grammar will not help you that far unless you learn how the spoken language works and how the pronunciation works, because those are usually the two things that are very challenging to people. All right, one more question. Okay, so sorry, 3 more questions, then I will end the stream. Next one comes from Shannon. The question is: have you heard about telecommuting as an immigration program? No need for a job if you can still do your current one digitally. No, I unfortunately haven't. No, unfortunately, I haven't. There's really nothing I can say here. This is completely new concept for me. So, sorry. Yeah, no, I don't even know where to start looking for the information. So, if you want to discuss this a bit more, and for example, elaborate this topic a bit more, so that I could maybe try to look for some links and sources, just make sure to join the Discord server. Again, the link is in the description box below, and ask the same question, for example, in the frequently or the questions and answers channel, and then I will have it there, and that will remind me every single day to look into it every time I have a bit extra time. And then comment, thanks for answering my earlier question. Very thorough and helpful. You're welcome. This is why we're doing these streams. Yevgenia saying, sometimes I feel despair because I'm studying Finnish now and the progress is so slow. Yeah, Yevgenia, I definitely recommend that you try to find a Finnish teacher, someone who you can actually speak Finnish with. And actually talking about this, Aleksi himself used to have a spoken Finnish course that is really, really good. He's revamping the course currently, so I'm not sure if you have access to it yet. But make sure to follow Aleksi on Skillshare. No, sorry, actually, never mind. Scratch that. Make sure to follow Aleksi on his channel, and he will let you know when he has his updated spoken Finnish language course up. It's a very good course specifically for learning like the spoken Finnish and day-to-day discussion. So Yevgenia, I could actually really recommend that to you as well. I'm sure that you would get a lot of value out of it. All right, next one comes from Jorge. And the question is, if you have an economics bachelor from Aalto, do you get automatic access to the economics masters at Aalto? Yes, you do. Yes, correct, you do. Do you just need to graduate bachelor's and then you have the right without specific grades and without special application? Yes, exactly. Well, you have to fill one form, basically, which is sent to you via email, and then you just fill it and then it's automatic admission. In addition, actually, Wink, as an insider tip, when you're about to graduate as bachelor's in any university in Finland, especially in Aalto, and if you feel like you have too much free time, that if the situation is like, for example, that you are doing your last courses in bachelor's and those courses do not fill your weekly schedule enough, you can actually register to master's courses already before you graduated as bachelor's. And sometimes the professors will not let you in because they will prioritize students who already are master's students. But it is very common that if they have any extra space in the class, they will simply let you come and study the master's, because that will mean that you actually graduate faster and get out of the school. So it's actually something that the school values as well. As a fun fact, the moment when I graduated as bachelor's, so when I had my bachelor's certificate in my hand, which is actually on the shelf there, I had already finished 95% of my entire master's degree without actually being an official master's student. Because the university system here is so flexible, because you get that automatic admission to master's as well if you study in a university. Again, it's a different case in universities of applied sciences. This doesn't apply there at all. But if you are admitted to study a bachelor's in a university, you're also automatically admitted to study a master's. So basically what happened was that I burnt out during my first year really badly, and I had to take time off. And that meant that my course schedules were completely mixed, because some courses on bachelor level, they only run like 1 or twice a year. So that completely mixed up my schedules, and that meant that my my weekly schedule wasn't filled enough for me to get enough course credits to actually progress in a normative pace. So what I started doing is basically simply looking for master's courses that I knew that I would do anyways, and I simply registered myself to the courses using the same system that you use to register to bachelor's courses. And if the professor sent me a message that sorry you cannot attend because there's I have prioritized master students, then that's fine. But if they accept you the course, then you go to the course and you do the course and you get the credits. And when you then graduate as bachelors, those credits from those master's courses are automatically accredited into your master's degree per study plan. So that's actually pretty simple. Is it also automatic to go from economics bachelor graduation, bachelor to ISM masters, or is there a selection criteria there before joining the masters? Yeah, some of the master's programs in Aalto University might have some criteria. For example, that you need to do a minor in a certain field. So, for example, if you want to do a master's in finance, but you do a bachelor's in economics, the criteria is that you need to do the criteria is that you need to do a minor in finance with a specific GPA, I think, a minimum GPA, to get into the because the master's in finance is so popular. There might be some specific courses that you might need to do, or you might, for example, I did my bachelor's in accounting and business administration, and then I moved to innovation management and entrepreneurship and innovation management for my master's. And the requirement was that I needed to have at least a 3.0 average GPA from my bachelor's to get into the innovation program. It's probably pretty similar with the ISM masters. So don't worry about it. It's super flexible in Finland. And considering that if you, for example, if the minimum requirement is like a specific GPA and you're just shy of GPA, you can just redo a couple of exams, get your GPA from your bachelor's a bit higher, and then you will be eligible to apply to the other program as well. All right. The last question for today comes from Isaac, and the question is, if you get a Finnish citizenship by naturalization at age 30-31, do you have to do the 1 year military service? I think the age limit to that is if you are 30, if you have already turned 30, then you do not need to do the military service. But if you're under 30 and you get a citizenship, then you need to do it. Or it's highly likely that you will be drafted, and then the drafting officer will decide whether or not you need to do it. But after year 30, you do not need to do it. All right, let's do one more. Shannon has one more question. Oh, actually, it's not a question, but just a note that, yes, I applied to Helsinki Business School. Let's see. Helsinki Business Hub. 90-day Fin terms and conditions. Oh, really? Nice. You actually applied for this. That's awesome. Nice. Okay, this is something that I really want to show everyone. This is such a cool thing. Ali Zerra, I will get back to your question in just a second. What question was it? Did you have it in the chat or in the form? Saud Hilal, hey, awesome. We have someone from Dubai. Awesome to have you here. I'm actually just about to end the stream, but if you want to watch the entire stream in playback, it will be available after the stream has ended. So we have gone through a huge amount of questions today. So I think that you will get a lot of value out of it. Just a second, I'll try to find. Ali Zerra, can you please repost the question into the form? I might have skipped it on accidentally. Yeah, I might have skipped it accidentally. Could you please repost the question into the form, if you don't mind? Apologies for skipping it. Anyway, while we're waiting, this is actually something really cool. Shannon just said that she applied to this 90-day Fin program, which is really cool, set up by Helsinki Business Hub. So basically the idea is to 90-day. So basically the idea is to start getting highly educated people to Finland as a to test what it's like to be a Finnish person to live in Helsinki for 90 days. And you can apply for a free 90-day Helsinki relocation package, basically learn how what it's like to work and to relocate to Finland. And this is really, really awesome. They have a couple of different packages, and it's a really well done like package, and it's actually using a lot of Finnish humor. So go ahead and check this out. This is mostly for highly educated professionals who already have years of work experience. So this is not for like prospective students, but it's like it's just a really fun thing to look at if you want to check it out. And actually, they have these really cool videos here if you want to check out. I will post this into the chat. There you go. Go ahead and actually check out these videos, like where a lot of people answer the question why actually live in Finland and in Helsinki. And they actually had some really good points about the differences between Finland and, for example, the United States. So go ahead and check that out as well. All right. All right. Alizera asking, what documents do Finnish companies ask when preparing a visa? Oh, right. Yeah, sure. Right, okay. So the Finnish companies do not require you to provide them with any kind of documentation when you're applying for a residence permit as a student. So skip the companies completely. So we are talking about the Finnish Immigration Service. So the Finnish Immigration Service is going to ask you for specific documents, and let's see. Yeah, so attachment here, valid passport. I'm sorry, no, that's not the here. General attachment, valid passport or picture, document showing that you're legally staying in the country where you submit the application form. So basically, a passport in your case, since you're a citizen. Then you need to send in the certificate of acceptance, basically your admission letter to the university. Clarification of income. So this is, for example, a bank statement that shows that you have the required funds on your personal bank account that you only control. And the Finnish Immigration Service will ask you to clarify the source of the income, for example, if it comes from your parents. Then you need to have a copy of your health insurance, proving that you actually have health insurance, and then documentation of paid tuition fee. So you need to pay the tuition fee before you actually apply for a residence permit, and then or a documentation or the certification for a scholarship if you have one. And then you also need to have earlier degree certificates also for the Finnish Immigration Service. And potential certificates of employment. For example, if your income that you use to pay for yourself has come from a previous employment in your country, you might have to prove that the money comes from a legal source, because there have been some cases where the money has come from illegal sources. So you have to prove that it's, for example, from your work or from your parents' work. So you might need to send them like your parents' work agreement, a copy of it, and, for example, a couple of months worth of these what are these called, salary like certificates or slips, whatever they are called. For work, in terms of work, just a second, I'll go through the question just super quickly one more time. Right. So the companies will not ask any documents anyways. So basically, if you apply for a residence permit for work in Finland, the companies actually don't take care of your visa application. You have to do it personally, which means that you will have to submit the documents to the Finnish Immigration Service anyways. So meaning that if you, for example, want to come to they're working in Finland. You have to most likely submit your some kind of proof that you have actually a job already, because you need to have a job before you come to Finland. You need to prove that you actually have high enough income to support you. So you have, that could be, for example, proven by your job agreement and the salary agreement. And then you're going to find all the necessary information from the Finnish Immigration Service. I don't really have the capacity in my head, brain capacity right now to go through everything in detail, but please check it out from this website. Again, you don't have to submit any documents to the company itself. Rather, you need to submit them to the Finnish Immigration Service because they take care of your visa application. The company itself is simply want you to get the residence permit, and they unfortunately cannot do the application for you. Anyhow, I think, guys, there are a lot of discussion and comments and questions in the chat, but the stream has been going on from 6 p.m. So what have we been? We have done almost 4 hours now straight. So my brain is starting to become mush. So guys, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer in the next week's live stream, please, you can still post them into the Google form that I have linked in the description box below, and I will start next week's live stream with your questions. So this is a good opportunity to actually post the questions there. And anyways, thank you so much for joining this immensely long live stream. Once again, if you want to support the channel and you got value out of this live stream, make sure to hit the like button and also subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and put on all notifications so you actually get notified when I post new videos or I go live here on YouTube. In addition, if you're actually getting value out of the content that I post on the channel, please, I would really appreciate if you would consider joining as a channel member by clicking the join button below the video somewhere over there. Channel members get a lot of extra perks and benefits that normal subscribers don't get, and you get a full list of perks and benefits by clicking the join button below the video. Anyways, again, thanks so much for joining us, guys, and I will have plenty of new videos coming up next week and the weeks after, especially now that we are really close for the next application season for Finnish universities, which starts the 1st of December. All right, that's it. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great weekend, everyone. I hope you're staying safe with the current times. And one more thing, if you want to get yourself a piece of Finnish nature, go ahead and get yourself a wooden watch from Arni. There's a 10% discount code in the description box below. You get a discount, I get a small cut of the sales fee, and you will be supporting the channel. Cool. All right, Sharia, if you want to send me a question, please send it through in the Discord server. There's an invite link to the server in the description box below. But I really gotta go now. I will talk with you next week.